Hold on just a minute. Hold on just a minute. There we go. There we go. Wait, your votes. Good morning, Baltimore. There's the drunk on the stool by the door. Na, 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 na. Oh, I'm in the lounge. Oh, good morning. Oh, good morning. Oops, where am I? I'm in the wrong set. There we go. Why is that different? I don't understand. Hi, Neil. I'm good. Hi, Oomph. I'm good. I had to order coffee this morning, unfortunately, because I forgot to get some. That was dumb. Badger, badger, badger. Oh boy, that tastes good though. I gotta tell you, I don't know why when the people in my Carrie, what are you doing? Oh my gosh. Ew. I think I know. Oh, Val, you got a membership. Tom, you got a membership. Oh, they did deliver the coffee to me. They did. And I have to say, when they make it, and this is like a silly morning. When we order coffee, it's kind of a silly morning because I don't have any coffee. So it's kind of like indulgent. So I will admit that. But it's awfully nice. I know it's Monday already. Hi Lee. Hi Carla. How are you? I wonder who this person is. I don't know who that person is. How is everyone? Happy Monday. Hi Scott. How are you? Oh my gosh. And Lee. It's a crazy morning already. Well, it's actually almost like half your day's done, Lee. I'm just waking up and you've already done like an entire day. So there's that. I think you have me beat in that regard. That's for sure. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. The day is Monday. It's what, July? It's July. It's July 21st. And you know what that means? No, you don't. there's no there's there's nothing. I don't know. Let's see. I hope you guys did something fun this weekend. Did anyone do anything fun? I did a little, we went shopping yesterday for, staples and not staples. Not real staples, because I don't really need staples. Hi, Carrie. Carrie, you're so kind. What is that? Annette, how are you? Good morning. You're catching us this morning. Yay. Oh, pool time and yard work all weekend. It's Robin Williams' birthday. Oh, oh, I love Robin Williams. It makes me so sad. Oh, it's good to see you, Annette. Oh, Carrie, thank you so much. I'm gonna play a song a little bit later in the show for you because I want to I want to wake up first. You lost connection back now. Carrie, I'm so happy you're here. We're on the same time today. I'm moving slow this morning. Hell yeah. I will happily match that. I will happily match that. Anyway, Carrie, you're so kind. You're always being so kind. And look at our friends got some. That's really sweet. And I'll play you a little song. I hope we get along. I gotta turn this down a little bit. My fan is blowing too much. So let's see. Did I do anything Saturday? I don't think I did anything Saturday. I think we just stayed home. I feel like I've been napping. I've been taking a lot of naps. I don't know why. I think it's the heat. When it's hot, I feel like I just want to take naps. Is it another tariffs meeting? Of course it's another tariffs meeting. It's always a tariffs meeting when Lee's around. Da 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 da. Well, let's see. That's nothing. Yep, that's nothing. Just making sure I'm not missing anything really crazy. How these weird people found God, like they're like, "Oh God, please rain down on me your special sauce and let us not be peasants to each other, but be indeed lords and ladies. Please, Lord, please, everlasting Lord above me." Did I skip improv class? I didn't have improv class. I haven't signed up for the next one yet. Ugh. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting a minute before I sign up for it. You got Tom. You sure did. You got Tom. You got Val. As someone pointed out, God killed a firefighter, so convicted rapists could. Yeah, I mean, what? What? Sweating. I'm sweating. It's sweating. Oh, God. Why am I so hot all of a sudden? I mean, hot in a temperature way. Oh my God. Okay. Whew. I just got like a hot flash, but I don't have hot flashes. Uh, but yeah, I see a lot of like weirdos that I know are not godly people. I'm sorry. Oh dear God, please squirt me with your special sauce. Cover me, bathe me in the blood of Christ. I wondered if I should explain that analogy. It's true. No, it's true. It's so true. No, it makes sense. Oh God, I know. Ooh, sorry, that was rude. I mean, I could play a song, but I could say something stupid. Oh well. That's why you come to the show, dear baby Jesus. You know, the white one. Baby Jesus, the little white one. Weekly team meeting to discuss plans for the week. My colleague leaves for vacation on Friday. Fishing trip. Oh, to Northern Ontario. Wow. Yeah, king me. Oh, man. Hot, 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 hot. I don't know why I'm sweating all of a sudden. Anyway, so yeah, it's Monday. Neil, stop, you guys. Oh my God. Are you gelling? Oh, they don't like me at all. Ugh. I don't know who that is. Mama Red. She doesn't like me either. Scott, you received a membership. Yay. I don't know. Dancer, I think I recognize. But there's a couple people in there that do not like me. So I don't know why. Outed those friends. I'm so happy they watch. I'm sure they're keeping an eye on me for other people. That's what some of these people do all day on YouTube. They run from chat to chat, keeping an eye on. I'm like, okay. Well, okay, so I Carrie, let's get you. I want to play you a song, and then we'll play Scott a song. Scott got the membership I was trying to get you. Oh, you two can split it. Badger, do you have memberships turned on? Uh oh, five fifths. Yeah, he's an incel. He's an incel. He's an incel, but that's okay. That's okay. Can't they be like a normal cult and just drink the Flavor Aid already? Exactly, Max. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Max. What are we waiting for? Yeah, Lee, I'm telling you, the lack of lives on the internet is just would boggle the mind. And yeah, no, there's people that literally, I know one of the stalkers got a membership. I mean, we're going way back in the time machine for that stalker. She's not watching. I can guarantee you she's not watching. Anyway, crazy people. But let's see. What do I have? Like, I want some songs. Wait, is that? No, that's that. I moved things around on my soundboard, which was really stupid. Okay, this one is for Carrie, and you're such a beautiful, beautiful friend of the lounge. I love you so much. Thank you so much for supporting. It's so sweet and never necessary. You guys, you never, if you have better things to spend that money on, my goodness, I would celebrate that. So, all right, here we go.
Rocking round the lounge,
Yeah.
shutting the fascists down. Finding love facts so fast. We make the fun times last at Lolo's Lounge.
It's okay.
Lolo's Lounge.
Then they get the message that says they have to renew it.
Best damn friends in the whole damn town.
And then they get embarrassed when they're members. I'll just spread the rumor that they paid for their memberships.
Rocking around the lounge, shutting the fascists down. Finding the facts so fast, we make the fun times last at Lolo's Lounge. Lolo's Lounge, the best damn friends in the whole damn town.
Thanks, Carrie. Good morning, butterflies. Ooh, thank you, Carrie. You're so kind. Oh, we got a little rim shot at the end there. And then for my friend, here we go. This is for Neil. Neil, this is for you.
Tinky Winky,
Tinky Winky,
Dipsy,
Dipsy.
La La,
La La,
Ho,
oh,
Teletubbies,
Teletubbies,
Say
hello.
hello. Uh-oh. Thank you. Thank you. Poll. Poe. 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 That's the name we were looking for, right? Thank you, Neil. You guys are so kind. That's fun. I'll be on a butterfly and badger hunt next time I know Max has invites turned off. I know. Yeah, Max. Max is the quintessential I'm not gonna join this. No. Not high enough for Teletubbies. Come on, easily. Come on. I'm not either. Oh my god. Ugh. I think rocking around the lounge better. What? 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 You like rocking around the lounge better than the Teletubbies theme? Damn. God damn. Oh, well, happy Monday. My God, what's happened over the weekend? Let's see. What news do we have? Oh, there's the non-news by what's her face? Tulsi Gabbard, who was like, pick me. I'm over here too. Pam Bondi isn't the only idiot woman on stage here. And so Tulsi was like, don't forget about me. But I read through some of the stuff that she, yeah. Oh, Neil, I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. Well, we got to get that out of your head. We got to get that out of your head. Hold on. Let me just see if I can. I think I can. Wait, what's that? Okay, here we go. Well, no, that's terrible. Oh, there you go. There. Yeah. Hey, good morning. Yeah. Woo. There you go. That replaces the Teletubbies. That's officially for Neil because he got the song. He wanted a different song. I always find Toto. Actually, that's a good idea. We should prod the rains in Africa. I need that. I'm actually going to make a note of that to myself. I bless the rain down in Africa. Rains down in Africa. GIF. There's a GIF. Oh, shit. Awesome. Okay. Was that song the Teletubbies song? I've never seen the show. Really? Oh yeah, that's the actual Teletubbies theme song. That sure is. Oh, that surely is, sir. That surely is. Uh O's memo being hyped by Tulsi just said there was no hacking of electric. Exactly. That's what it said. I read it. I shared some of it on Friday on Blue Sky. Um that was just play Jerry Ants reciting. I think I have that. I actually have that on a clip on my channel. Chuds don't read. Yeah. Exactly. So they can say whatever they want. I was listening to one particular Chud this morning, Brian Crane. He's a terrible, like, Florida based, like, I don't know. I think he has a show. I think he's like radio or something. Anyway, he's on YouTube as well. Oh, I have no kids. I'm an adult. Ergo, I've never watched Teletubbies. Okay, Neil. All right, all right. That's fair. Well, then that's why you got the banjo too. You got some extra banjo this morning. Um but the memo or the material that I was reading through in this, yeah, exactly. The material I was reading through when I was reading this like bombshell of a disclosure on Friday morning was that there was no bombshell. It was exactly the same things that they said almost publicly, with whatever changes. That it was that they didn't think that Russia was actually impacting the machines, but they admitted that the influence campaign and other things were, significant or whatever words they used. So, yeah, I mean, I get that Chuds are really excited about this and they're really trying to hype it up, and I understand that 100%. But at the same time, oh, they weren't really terrific. I mean, it was okay. It was a good show. Bobo didn't really love I mean, she didn't like absolutely go gaga over Teletubbies, but she was more of a little bear kind of thing. That Obama A1 from Trump. Yeah, exactly. Um, and I was pointing out the leak by Reality Winner indicates otherwise. Yeah, exactly. Um, so it's just, it doesn't say exactly what they're saying it says. And I understand the fervor that they really, really want around this, but and you know what? She's probably going to go the full mile, right? Tulsi's probably going to refer. I mean, I think she's made criminal referrals already or something stupid over to Pam Bondi. Yeah, the Senate report says different. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I get it, and unfortunately to me, it's just an indication that there's probably some really terrible things they're buying time to scrape from the files. And I don't know, I just don't get why it's not a bigger deal that like Dick Durbin comes out and says, "Hey, they're going in and removing Trump's name." Like I just don't understand it. I don't understand and I get like on the other side when I was listening to that Chud guy this morning from Florida, he's basically like they're so despondent that they have this kind of issue with Trump. They're so despondent over that they absolutely will get gaga over the smallest dot of light that they can that indicates that someone like Clinton or whatever. I did, Tom. Good morning. I did. Pat Tillman's brother was arrested because he drove into a post office in San Jose up north, which is where the family is kind of from. I hope everything's okay. I felt really badly for him, and I don't think anyone was hurt, but except for he might have been hurt. So yeah, I did hear about that. That was terrible. Yeah, Schlump publicly called on Russia to hack Clinton, and they did. Yeah, I mean, really. The Russians hacked both the RNC and the DNC, and they released the DNC. Come on, like I just you can't tell me then that the voting bloc of people who vote right wing are very smart. Um, it's ridiculous. I think Neil, did you give Tom that uh Oh, allegedly live streamed and set building on fire. What? Oh, I totally didn't. Got Mueller, she wrote's post Durbin story. Do I? I do. I thought I had some. I have a bunch of things lined up. Let me see if I've got that because I thought I had something like that. Ah, get this. Yeah. Hold on. Let me. Do, 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 do. What is it? Durbin presses Bondi. Wait, I'm trying to find like the good. Do the Hill? Annoying. An annoying website. Oh, do I have the Wall Street Journal? Hold on. Let me see if I've got the Wall Street Journal piece pulled up. I thought I did pull it up, but I don't absolutely know. Is the other. That's not that. That's not that. That's not that. Oh wait, what's this? Nope. I got it. Nope. Nope. Boop. Boop. Uh. Okay, this is really pissing me off. Um, sorry. I'm so sorry. No, 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 no. La la la. La la la. Dang it. Why can't I find it? This is so weird. No, 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 no. Oh, man. Wow. I can't even find a link to that story. You got it. Thank you. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you. I really appreciate that. All right. Let's start with that. Hell yeah. We got a bunch of stuff. Hold on. I'm going to show you. Let me show you the world. It's really fucked up right now. But maybe we will make it better when we have a coup. Here we go. Oh, good. I had not read this. I'm excited. Max, that was an interesting piece by Mueller. She wrote, shenanigans are afoot. Excellent. Oh, you're driving, Tom? Okay, be careful. FBI in full panic mode, scouring Epstein files for Schlump. I mean, this is so bad. Like, this is... I mean, I grew up and I was cognizant of what was happening in the 70s a little bit, right? And even I knew then, as a child, that what Nixon was doing was wrong and that it was a huge scandal. And I don't understand why where have we come? Like, this is so weird. Like, everybody else is normal and we in this country are just like, we have our heads so far up our asses. I just don't even believe it. I don't believe it. I don't. It's crazy. All right. Let's read. Oh, in the court. Yeah, I got to get back into the Discord. Stayed out of the Discord yesterday. I just was like busy, 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 and then I didn't catch up at night. I don't know what was wrong with me. All right, here we go. This is Mueller. She wrote her Substack, Allison Gill. It's outrageous that the AG, DOJ, and the FBI are acting like Schlump's personal legal team. Yeah, I mean, and they are a lot of them are his former lawyers. which is just like, this is like cuckoo bananas to me. It really is. I understand that, if you're like one of those intellectuals about this, you're always like, oh, this is the end of liberalism, and then we're moving into this phase, and then we'll move into, like, no, this is really real life. This isn't just like your upcoming book about the political process and how it changes. These are people's lives. Yeah, it is outrageous that FBI's FOIA staff should have been forced to work around the clock for weeks without going home. It's true. AG was on with Wajahat Ali live last night. She said she had more info, but today's pod had disappeared from platforms. Oh, maybe for editing, maybe worse. Good info. Okay, good. Outrageous they didn't have a plan for names when they started. I mean, wouldn't you have thought, wait a minute, that's a good point, Oomph. Like, wouldn't you have thought they had been scrubbing this the whole time that they've been there? And that can't take that long. They have AI. What is the problem? I'm so confused. I'm so confused as to how they're getting away with this. Oh, there was an attack on SharePoint last week. That's interesting. I don't know. We still have not woken up in this country about like all the shenanigans, I guess. Oh, AI can't do it? Oh, all right. That's fair. Yeah. I thought AI could do everything. I'm so confused. What happened to AI does it all? Was there a SharePoint? What you guys are like so much farther down the road on this than I am. What's the SharePoint thing? I didn't even read about it. SharePoint. Microsoft SharePoint servers attacked in global cyber attack. Well, I certainly missed this. Oh God. And so I read this headline. It says, it's an ABC News headline, and it says Microsoft SharePoint under active exploitation, Homeland Security CISA says. This is what makes me so sad, okay? Because when you look at that sentence, I'll show it to you. When you look at this sentence and you just go, oh my God, this means they have no idea that I have no confidence, I have zero confidence that our government will do what is necessary to resolve problems and make them better. Rohrbacher was a folk singer? I don't believe that. I want video or it didn't happen. The info on the Epstein document search was held in unsecured SharePoint. Oh, no. No, you're kidding. No, you're kidding. You're kidding. Wait, I'm so confused. Okay, I'm going to read the other thing first that we found. We're going to start here. That's how the Ruskies get you. Yeah, and that and Kaspersky. Man, remember when everybody thought Kaspersky or whatever was the best, whatever virus software or whatever? Coincidence that it was hacked? No, it's not a coincidence, and I think people should say that. Who hacked it? Do they know? I'll read about it. Do they know who hacked it? I mean, is it like tied back to like Lucifer 2.0 or 3.0 or whatever? I don't know. All right. This is Allison Gill's piece from yesterday, the Epstein cover-up at the FBI inside the chaotic review process of the Epstein and Maxwell files at the Bureau. As many of you know by now, Dick Durbin penned a letter to Pam Bondi 2 days ago asking questions about the information his office received from a protected whistleblower. The letter read in part, according to information my office received, Attorney General Bondi then pressured the FBI to put approximately 1,000 personnel in its information management division. Oh boy, I really missed this weekend. Oh no, I know it's Russia. And the first two don't count. No, yeah, I know it's Russia. I just want to know if they tied it back to a particular group, right, that was hacking on behalf of or whatever. So that's all I wonder. Okay. 1,000 personnel in its information management division, including the record information dissemination section, which RIDS, which handles all requests submitted by the public under the Freedom of Information Act and Privacy Act on 24-hour shifts. Oh, there you go. That's what Noob was talking about. 24-hour shifts to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records in order to produce more documents that could then be released on an arbitrarily short deadline. This effort, which reportedly took place from March 14th through the end of March, was haphazardly supplemented by hundreds of FBI New York field office personnel, many of whom lack the expertise to identify statutorily protected information regarding child victims and child witnesses or properly handle FOIA requests. I know, I was trying to do the math. If it's 100,000 records divided by 1,000 people, what is that? Is that 10,000 records a person? I don't even know how to multiply. 10,000 records per person? I guess that's a lot. I don't know. Is it 10 or is it 1,000? No, it's 10. Okay. All right. My office was told that these personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. Despite tens of thousands of personnel hours reviewing and re-reviewing these Epstein-related records over the course of 2 weeks in March, it took DOJ more than 3 additional months to officially find that there is no incriminating client list, and the memorandum with this finding includes no mention of the whistleblower or additional documents, which, of course, why would they? The existence of which Attorney General Bondi claimed on February 27th. This letter was made public right after I had filed a FOIA request for all the Epstein and Maxwell grand jury testimony. See my last post on Substack. When I saw that over 1,000 people had been put to work reviewing the Epstein files, I put a call out on my Blue Sky account. Attention, if you're one of the 1,000 FBI agents who reviewed the Epstein files, feel free to reach out to me, blah, blah, blah. In the 24 hours since, I've received several messages, including from a former analyst that was assigned to review the files, and a few things stood out to me. First, approximately 1,000 personnel in the Information Management Division and the FBI New York field office were assigned to this task, confirming the whistleblower account made to Senator Durbin's office. I can also confirm that a log exists tracking the mentions of Donald Trump in the files. What? And that there were approximately 100,000 files containing roughly 300,000 pages. Individual analysts were told to flag mentions of Trump by document and page number and by logging them in an Excel spreadsheet. I don't know how to do a macro. Individual analysts, okay, and logging them in an Excel spreadsheet. Then they'd hand in their spreadsheet at the end of their sometimes 24 or even 48-hour shift. You know they weren't working the whole 24 hours. Okay, come on now. You know they weren't working the whole 24 hours. Hey, give me a break. Give me a fucking break. Yeah, Sissa doesn't confide in me. 300 pages. Individual analysts were told to flag mentions, log into the spreadsheet. Okay. But it's important to note that the agents were not told to flag Trump until later in a process that began in mid-March. Wait, what? The process of reviewing the Epstein and Maxwell files was chaotic, and the orders were constantly changing, sometimes daily. Oh my God. It is as bad as we think it is, okay? They don't have an in-house document review software. I know, right? Like, wait a minute. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's not a software solution to this. I mean, there is Control F. There's that. I don't know. You know they're going to miss something. You know they're going to miss something. Come on. Oh boy. Sometimes daily. The one person I spoke to on the condition of anonymity said that many agents spend more time waiting for new instructions. I knew this than they did processing files. But here's what caught my attention. The files were stored on a shared drive that anyone in the division could access. What? The software would manage files and track flags notations. Yeah. Right? Thank you. No Excel needed. No SharePoint needed, really. This is so crazy, Normally, access is only granted to those working on a project, but because of the hurried nature of the exercise, the usual permission restrictions were not in place. This government is completely ham-handed, like they're the worst. It's the stupidest people. I worry about the evilness of this administration, but then I also worry about the stupidness. Additionally, the internal SharePoint site the Bureau ended up using to distribute the files toward the end did not have the usual restricted permissions. This left the Epstein and Maxwell files open to viewing by a much larger group of people than previously thought. Oh, yeah, JD's going to be worse. Oh, yeah, no, JD is their plan. That's why none of this matters, Carrie, right? Like, this is why none of the Trump shit really matters. Because they can easily do the swap. They can easily do the swap. So you're absolutely right. He's going to be worse. And that's fine with them. That's fine. He might be actually easier to control. I don't know. Additionally, this left. Okay. Regarding the ever-changing nature of the instructions, which one source described as full panic mode, there were at least 4 different review instructions, keeping in mind that the Record Information Dissemination section are trained in FOIA redactions, but many in the IMD are not. There were multiple video training sessions that went out on an unclassified network on what to mark for redaction, what not to mark, and how to record things that needed to be flagged. This is why he's doing the Obama stuff, is because this process is coming out too. You know what I mean? And how bad it is. Like, everything they did was documented and made available to people. Yeah, but the unborn. That means a video exists of trainers explaining the process of flagging instances of Donald Trump appearing in the files. Oh my God. And those videos went out on unclassified networks within the Bureau. It's also of note that the trainers toward the end were folks from the Department of Justice and not the FBI. Oh my God. At first, the analysts were told to mark nothing. This was roundly rejected by the analysts, who were then told not to think about it as releasing the information, including victims' names, to the public, but to think about it as releasing it to the Attorney General. It was assumed that Bondi and Patel wanted all the information, including the victims' names and information. Analysts were told what would be released would be solely up to Pam Bondi. Many feared that the victims' information would be released or used for nefarious purposes. Eventually, lawyers from the Department of Justice were assigned to the project to oversee what was being flagged for redaction. A secret meeting didn't stay secret for long. I mean, really, this is so ridiculous. That changed pretty quickly, and the analysts were next told to mark the victims' names for redaction. Then soon after that, they were told to mark all other personal identifiable information, such as social security numbers and addresses. Then they were told to mark all descriptions of illicit acts for redaction. Then, finally, they were instructed to keep a spreadsheet of instances when Trump was mentioned. After the spreadsheets of mentions of Trump were handed in, they were stitched together in one master list. I was not able to learn how many mentions of Donald Trump were on that master list. As far as content, there was one confirmed mention of Donald Trump in the files reviewed by an analyst who again spoke on the condition of anonymity. Beyond that, there were other instances of Trump appearing in the files, but the number of times and to what extent is unknown. But the log exists. Oh, this log. Now we're going to go after the log. Oh, I'm so tired. Something else that stands out is the potential stress and possible trauma created by the review of the files. They included photos of yacht parties and photo shoots that some analysts weren't prepared for. The photos accompanied victim testimony, and in one instance, Epstein had instructed a group of young girls, many safely assumed to be minors, to remove their clothes and pose nude on the beach. It was the casual coercion of it that hit me, one analyst said. That's right. The log. It's better than good. It's great. After the review was complete, the DOJ and the FBI decided not to release anything. That surprised analysts, who thought for sure that a scrubbed version of the files would be released. From March 14th until its completion, the analysts assigned to review the files at IMD were told not to leave the building, working long shifts under chaotic and ever-changing conditions with exposure to disturbing materials. What could go wrong? They did end up letting some analysts go home for short periods of time, but then they'd be right back in the office reviewing the files. Morale was abysmal. But there is a log of instances Donald Trump is mentioned in the files. There are video and PDF trainings instructing analysts to flag Trump. There were multiple instances of Trump appearing in the files. Patel and Bondi wanted victim information and PII. And sloppiness means that more people than previously known had access to the Epstein and Maxwell files. And while there is no indication of a ready-made A to Z client list beyond the little black book that's already public, to say there's nothing or to say it's a hoax, bullshit. If you are one of the people who reviewed the files or took the training, please feel free to reach out to me on Signal. I will keep you anonymous. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, that is good. Let's see. This is the Hill story on Durbin. Oh my God. Well, this is something else. President Trump said Friday morning he hopes to get publisher Rupert Murdoch to testify as part of the lawsuit. I don't care who. Oh yeah. Oh hi 5/5. How you doing? I think it was Carrie. Carrie did. President Trump said Friday morning he hopes to get publisher Rupert Murdoch to testify. Good luck. He's about 3,000 years old, right? Allison Gibbs. Yeah, she seems like a person not to mess with. I know. About an alleged birthday letter Trump sent 20 years ago, the disgraced financier since convicted of sex trafficking and other crimes. I look forward to getting Rupert Murdoch to testify. Oh, well, I will say thank you. Good morning, 5/5. I will say thank you very much. She's here. I look forward to getting Rupert Murdoch to testify in my lawsuit against him in his pile of garbage newspaper, the WSJ. Trump wrote in a post on Truth Social. That will be an interesting experience. Trump hammered the Wall Street Journal Thursday night. The paper reported on the letter the president allegedly sent Epstein in 2003 for the financier's 50th birthday. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Good morning. The news outlet, whose publisher is Dow Jones and owned by the News Corp, said Thursday evening Trump's message was typed inside the outline of a naked woman and has the president's signature. Okay, we've already read all that. And then wait, there was another thing I wanted to mention because oh shoot, what was it? I thought someone went to a meeting or something. Now I can't remember. Now you can use the special emojis. That's right. Is there? I have some special emojis. I think. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I do. Okay. Oh, this is I wanted to play these clips this morning. Look at all the stuff I have lined up for us. All these tabs are for today. Aren't you excited? Oh, you can't really see them. Oh, that's weird. Anyway, I wanted to play this Chris Hayes piece on the Epstein. We'll stick with Epstein for a minute. Wealthy rising. Yeah. Oh, wow. Cool. That's cool. Wealthy. Wow, it's a Monday. You're welcome. 5/5. Good to see you. All right, let's do this. Here we go. Let's play this. This is 11 minutes, so it's a little bit of a long thing.
Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Donald Trump is doing his best to fight his way out of the Jeffrey Epstein mess he has created for himself. Tonight, filing a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal and News Corp and Rupert Murdoch himself for their report of his alleged birthday letter to Epstein. This while his Department of Justice scrambles to kinda appear to release some of the Epstein files in an effort, obviously, to placate his agitated MAGA base. We're going to get to the lawsuit in a minute. But first, the Department of Justice filed a motion to unseal grand jury information from both the case of late child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and his associate, currently in federal prison, Ghislaine Maxwell. On its face, it appears to be a good thing because people want transparency. They want the files released. But there's a huge caveat here. Not only is the department going to redact identifying information about the victims, which they very well should, they are also going to redact identifying information about anyone else whose name might come up in the documents in question. Quote, the department will work with the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York to make appropriate redactions of victim-related information and other personal identifying information prior to releasing the transcripts. Obviously, all victim-related information absolutely must be redacted.
It was
also,
Carrie.
like, why redact the other personal identifying information? I mean, if you are trying to look like you're transparent, avoid looking like you're covering something up, that seems like probably not the best way to go about it. But that is not the only big revelation we got today. The top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which of course oversees the FBI and the Department of Justice, now says that the Bureau agents were instructed to flag to DOJ about any Epstein records that mention Donald Trump. Get this is a new letter out today to Attorney General Pam Bondi from Ranking Member Dick Durbin, who writes this, quote, according to information my office received, you pressured the FBI to put approximately 1,000 personnel in its information management division on 24-hour shifts to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records, adding, quote, my office was told these personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. What? And all this comes just a day after that shocking story in the Wall Street Journal about what the paper described as a, quote, bawdy birthday letter bearing Trump's signature written to Epstein back in 2003 before his first arrest. Quoting from the Journal's description, the letter bearing Trump's name, which was reviewed by the Journal, is bawdy, like others in the album. It contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts.
I'm so sick of this
picture. And the future
picture.
president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. The Journal says that inside the outline of the naked woman was an imaginary typewritten conversation between Trump and Epstein in the third person, which included this line, Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? And ended with Trump. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. What's more, the document in question was at one point in possession of the DOJ, or at the very least,
no worries,
it was something reviewed
no worries,
by Department of Justice investigators.
I know some people don't like that. I get it.
And or
really
his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. To be clear, Trump denies having anything to do with the letter. He is suing the Wall Street Journal over this reporting after having threatened to do so.
You're just fine.
Quoting from the paper, in an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story, he said. I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women, he said. It's not my language. It's not my words. Of course, Donald Trump has written many pictures in his life, like the ones you are seeing on your screen right now. In fact, people have been surfacing these pictures all day. It seems to be kind of like a thing he's into, actually.
Oh.
I've got to say, when the whole Epstein story first resurfaced, with the 2-page memo from the Department of Justice saying, it's done, case closed, nothing to see here, no client list, no nothing, right?
The doodle and diddler.
My first instinct was not that there was an active cover-up of stuff about Donald Trump in the files. I thought most likely was that this administration, people around him, had very cynically
Hitler was a lousy artist
the
too.
quote-unquote
Oh my
Epstein
God,
files
you're right.
to reach and mobilize a certain
so
quadrant of voters. And then they realized they had overpromised and were going to underdeliver. And man, did they overpromise.
This is something Donald Trump has talked about. The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients.
Oh, I didn't watch Mehdi Hassan.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office. What you're going to see hopefully tomorrow. A lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information.
God, she's such a liar.
All the Epstein files are missing. Can you confirm the status on them? We still haven't heard from you.
No, the FBI. Yeah, the FBI. They're reviewing. There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child
Why
porn.
are they watching those?
And there are hundreds of victims.
Why are they watching those?
No one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that.
But Bondi's obsession with the Epstein files wasn't just her freelancing. It's fair to assume it was coordinated with the White House, right? This is not an independent DOJ. Everything Bondi does is coordinated with the White House.
No, this is not
DOJ
live.
Works for the White House in a way that no DOJ has ever worked for the White House since Nixon, at least. So then, and that's established, right? The question becomes, well, why did this White House abruptly shift course? Why did the DOJ come out last week and say, you know what? Nothing to see here. Why has Donald Trump been spiraling ever since? I mean, we know he and Epstein were
because
friends
he
for years.
raped children.
The writer Michael Wolff has a recording of Epstein himself saying he was Trump's
and there's probably
closest
pictures
friend
of
for a
him
decade.
being weird with children. No problem. No problem, Lee. Love you.
If we couple this with today's revelations from Senator Durbin, which are gobsmacking, that 1,000 FBI agents doing 24-hour shifts tasked with flagging mentions of Trump in their Epstein research, and then the Wall Street Journal letter, as well as the fact that DOJ wants to redact not just victim-related stuff, but other personal identifying information. Well, I mean, at a certain point, the most plausible explanation for the facts is that there's some kind of cover-up here. The DOJ was tasked with vetting Epstein materials for mentions of the President Donald Trump, his buddy of 15 years, who said that Jeffrey Epstein liked young women.
Oh, you like him?
And then subsequently a decision was made not to release any more information on Epstein.
Sounds good, Fifus.
Now, the Wall Street Journal makes clear that we don't know if this letter bearing Trump's signature, previously reviewed by the Department of Justice, was among the documents reviewed by this administration, right? That some FBI agent was like, whoa, gosh, you got to see this, and flagged it.
What do you like about him?
But if it was, and again, that seems plausible if it's in the record, it's hard not to see why they might come to the decision to just shut the whole Epstein thing down.
No.
Alex
Oh,
Wagner
no.
is an MSNBC
Believe
senior
me,
political
Fifus.
analyst. Lisa Rubin
I
is an
knew
MSNBC
something about that. That's
legal
fine.
correspondent, just published a new piece about
But
Trump firing Epstein
let's
prosecutor
debate.
Maureen Comey, and they join me now. Alex, let me start with you because,
I understand.
I am so struck
I don't
by
really
this Durbin
understand,
letter.
but it's okay.
Partly because Dick Durbin is not a showboat. This is not a guy who's gonna go on social media.
You like Elon
and
too,
try to
right?
get
I remember
attention.
you did some stuff on Elon.
And is also not going to commit this to writing to the Attorney General without some real information. The idea that 1,000 agents working 24 hours and told to flag stuff, that strikes me as pretty wild.
BFD, I think, Chris, is the official term for it. 1,000 of them, and the belief somehow. I mean, this is an exercise in hubris unlike anything I've ever seen.
There are
The idea
actual
that you're gonna have
crimes happening
1,000
across
agents
this country.
working under the explicit order to
And you have
weed out the
1,000
Trump stuff, and that's
agents
not somehow gonna
reviewing
leak.
old
But also,
files.
Trump's strategy
Really?
from the beginning, right? This is a person who in 2015 at CPAC is trying to impugn the reputation of Bill Clinton by mentioning Clinton's activities on Epstein Island. Trump is obsessed with Epstein. Trump gives, curries favor with people who are also obsessed with Epstein and what he's done. Trump plays footsie in interviews during the
Analysts,
campaign,
that's right.
saying he will release the Epstein files, even if he sort of dances around it. He entertains the idea. Trump allies himself with people who are obsessed with Epstein, and then, Chris, populates his administration, the top levels of his administration, his attorney general, his FBI director, and
I don't
his
know what an
vice
analyst
president,
is.
all obsessed with Jeffrey Epstein. He does this on his own accord, knowing, presumably, we can only gather, Chris, that he himself is in the Epstein files. It is the self-sabotage to make these choices over the course of a decade, knowing that if he won, the chickens were going to come home to roost. And what does he do now? I mean, it boggles the mind. The phrase "own goal" isn't it's truly, it is the most hubristic thing I've seen from a man who has pushed the bounds of hubris
Visa
to
integrity
the outer
fee.
reaches
What
of
the
the universe.
fuck?
But this is a problem completely of his own creating. He brought these people in. They are asking for results. He built a movement on it, and now he sits atop it, potentially indicted in the crime that he has made everybody obsessed with. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's true. He did. He was the one who made people upset with this one. So get out of town, get out of town. And then I have other pieces too. I have a couple videos, but then I've got other stuff to read. They seem intent on killing off our tourism. Yeah, I think what's interesting about this is that, as I've watched the right-wing media machine over the last 5 years or whatever, and the people around it, they don't want to believe that their guy is bad. And even if he's bad, even if they see a picture of him with young girls, even if they hear the stories from women, first of all, if we believed women, you wouldn't have to open any files. Okay? If we just believed women, then we wouldn't have to go through this, because there's plenty of information from the victims themselves in the public discourse about who was involved. Yeah, we knew he was King Cyrus when we picked him up. Exactly. They knew who this was. They don't care. They don't care. Because he's owning the libs, and that to them is all that matters. The price of their Mountain Dew can go up. The price of their new whatever can go up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They have allowed this administration to take hold. And while the Epstein stuff, I think, is a vulnerability and something that should be exploited at this moment in time because it is such a strong vulnerability, it only points to the fact that there is such a horrible administration behind him that would put up a child rapist as their nominee, and not just as their nominee, but they would go to the wall for him. They would go to the wall. So I think we're dealing with a different psychosis on for Trump fans or whatever you want to call them, MAGAs. We're dealing with an actual psychosis. Like they cannot and will refuse to see what their eyes are showing them. And it shouldn't even have to be that way. It should be enough that $9 billion was just eradicated from the fiscal year 26 budget by Congress last week. We stopped funding public radio. We stopped funding public radio. We stopped all foreign aid. We're now supporting the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is literally killing children and shooting them as they try to get food. We're ignoring the fact that Israel just bombed Syria because they're going to grab that land, or as much of it as they can. We just ignore all of that. Those are the parts I hope we get to. People are still being abducted off the streets of our cities. So I totally go along with the Epstein stuff because it's pointing out a great, a real flaw with this administration. But my hope, I'm just not that hopeful that people will actually act on principle. I'm going to say it. When a Democrat gets in trouble, like Bob Menendez, Henry Cuellar, people in the party, they get cut out. Fucking Al Franken got cut out because he put his hand on people's hips. Because he put his hand on people's hips, which I agree is bad. Don't grope people. But even that, he made the choice to say, I'm just going to step away. And people let him step away, even though he was a really valuable senator to us. So please stop with the nonsense that there is some kind of, it was a boob. Oh yeah, he grabbed someone's boob or something. And I'm not saying that's good. I'm not excusing that. What I'm saying actually is that when people display that kind of behavior, I have seen time and time again that in the Democratic Party, we will call that shit out and those people will be cut off. Not everybody, believe me, there's more than a few, but nothing like what's happening here. You've got an adjudicated rapist. He literally raped a woman and got convicted for it in a court in New York. Oh yeah, he posed. That's right. Oh yeah, he was doing like the. Yeah. Anyway, I'm definitely not making excuses for that behavior because whatever. But I think he learned his lesson. Yeah, like I don't think it. So, and he didn't rape a child. Okay, that we know of. So, whatever. Yeah, it was a Benny Hill. Oh yeah. So I guess what I'm just trying to say is that consistently I've seen Democrats hold each other accountable for bad behavior. And I have no clue as to why. I mean, it is the money power grab of this administration. But last week they voted to cement the cuts. Rescission passed. Rescission passed. You know, like, this is bad. I don't know how you build that back up again. You know? I don't know. Anyway, now this is one I wanted to play too. This is from 2 days ago, so it must be with the other one. But this is, I never want to forget about Alex Acosta either. They went after him because he caused Jeff Sessions to perjure himself. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was a comedian. Yeah, he wasn't. I don't think was he in office then? I don't know. But the point is that it is important to hold each other accountable, and that's okay to do. And I don't understand why this party is absolutely hell-bent on not holding each other accountable. Because it doesn't matter what people come out with. It could be child rape, it could be child porn, it could be this, it could be that. Al Franken. Did Al Franken cause him to perjure himself? Isn't he the one causing the perjury if he does it? No, I don't know. Whatever. All right, let's listen. This is a little bit shorter. It is a protection racket, Carla. It is. It is all a protection racket. Exhausting.
Scandal rock the second Trump.
Oopsie, here we go. Oh.
As we watch the Jeffrey Epstein scandal rock the second Trump administration, it's worth remembering this is not something new. This scandal was rocking his first administration, too. It's a saga that everyone has basically forgotten. It revolves around Alex Acosta. That was Trump's pick to be his first Secretary of Labor. It was a little strange at the time because Acosta had limited experience on labor issues.
Oh, my God.
But back in 2005, Acosta had been the U.S. attorney
for
the
was on
Southern
an Entertaining the Troops tour. Oh, I didn't know that.
And on his watch, the FBI prepared a 53-page federal indictment charging Jeffrey Epstein for sex crimes that could have put him in jail for life. It alleged that Epstein lured a steady stream of underage girls to his Palm Beach mansion to engage in nude massages, masturbation, oral sex, and intercourse. The girls, mostly from disadvantaged, troubled families, were recruited from middle and high schools around Palm Beach County. Middle and high schools.
And
they were offered money to bring new girls to Epstein. 6 of those women spoke exclusively to NBC News in 2019 about the abuse they endured.
I think the nature of this kind of abuse means that you're conditioned to be silent, to be isolated, secretive, and shameful.
I feel like, you know, it was a big game for him, and we were the pieces of his game.
And you're like, I'm just not going to say anything because that's what he told me to do.
The women all have familiar stories of grooming, promises, and then sexual assault.
I can relate to pretty much every person sitting here next to me.
That indictment that was prepared by the FBI never saw the light of day. Because in 2008, Alex Acosta made a non-prosecution agreement with Epstein, negotiated in secret with Epstein's lawyers, who include Alan Dershowitz, who would go on to be a lawyer for Donald Trump. And under its terms, the feds would just not bring charges against Epstein. They would shut down their grand jury investigation. They would seal the indictment. Epstein would be prosecuted by local authorities for 2 minor charges. Epstein got a 13-month sentence, but he was allowed to leave jail for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Epstein's victims were left unaware the sweetheart deal had even been cut, a fact Acosta was forced to account for as Trump's labor secretary.
And at the end
Do you regret making this deal in secret?
And at the end of the day,
Do you regret making this deal
Congresswoman,
in secret?
if I could finish, if at the end of the day, Mr. Epstein went to jail, Epstein was incarcerated, He registered as a sex offender. The world was put on notice that he was a sex offender, and the victims received restitution.
13 months in county jail, 12 hours a day, work release. You consider that justice for the devastation of these girls?
Now, by then, victims were not only
Fuck
suing
that guy.
Epstein in court, they were suing the government, saying that Alex Acosta's deal had violated their rights. And it was at that time that the Miami Herald and its incredible investigative reporter, Julie K. Brown, had begun to publish an award-winning series of probes into Epstein's case and specifically the contours of this very strange deal with Acosta. The following July, the FBI finally arrested Jeffrey Epstein on federal charges. And Donald Trump was being forced more and more to answer questions about his well-documented friendship with Epstein. The story wouldn't go away. So just a few days later, Alex Acosta did.
I do not think it is right and fair for this administration's Labor Department to have Epstein as the focus rather than the incredible economy that we have today. And so I called the president this morning. I told him that I thought the right thing was to step aside.
Donald Trump lamented the departure of his labor secretary, especially since there was nothing to see here.
I did have a falling out a long time ago. The reason doesn't make any difference, frankly, but I haven't spoken to him in probably 15 years or more.
He seemed
I
more
wasn't a big
vibrant
fan
then.
of Jeffrey Epstein, that I can tell you. And now, if you look, the remnants hurt this man, and I hate to see it happen.
I mean, you hate to see a guy like Alex Acosta hurt, you know? 3 weeks after Alex Acosta departed the Trump White House, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his prison cell of an apparent suicide. Donald Trump effectively turned the page on a massive scandal that had been enveloping his administration. Well, now that scandal's back again. And he's trying to weather the storm with embattled Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was the top cop in Florida for 8 years and who also never prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein in all that time.
Sorry. Oh. Yeah, Alex Acosta no one should forget. I'm pretty sure Julie K. Brown articles were published before Trump took office first term. I was sure he wouldn't stay the 4 years. I know. Schlump's health is failing. He may not last through the end of the year. Well, and he's gone downhill pretty fast. I think. But interesting. I just wanted to see, where is Alex Acosta now? Anybody know? Where is Alex? Where is that little pubic hair face? Sorry, that was the worst thing I could think of to call somebody. Let's see. He's only 56. Oh my God. La, 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 la. Previous offices. What is he doing now? Is he just retired? Probably. Probably. I can't see. I can't see where he is. He's disappeared. Unless he's playing men's basketball for some college, which I think that's probably another Alex Acosta. But anyway. Yeah, so I don't know where Alex Acosta is. Probably hiding under a rock somewhere. I've always thought Bill Barr wrote his 19-page begging letter to be AG just so he could handle Epstein. That might have been true, Carrie. That's not, you animate his corpuscular electrolytes. Alex Acosta is the only son of Cuban immigrants. Is he? Oh, the only son? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he was there to protect the enterprise. And yeah, it's so much. It's so much. They wrote about the Maria Farmer story yesterday in the New York Times. I don't know that story. I recognize the name, but all right. So let me see, because we've got a ton. Speaking of which, I have this, which is the New York Times. What the hell? Inside the long friendship between Trump and Epstein. I wanted to read this. Let me see what else. And then I have. I pulled up some old stuff because I was like, what is some of the old reporting on the Epstein stuff? And there is that from Newsweek. What is this? What is this? Oh, that's air traffic. I have a lot of different topics today. The oligarch. Okay, what's this one? NIH. Microsoft SharePoint. Oh, yeah, that's right. We already read that. Don't let the algorithm. Let's right wing shit. Russ bought. Vote. Tariffs. Jim Jordan. Don't forget, okay? Jim Jordan. There's something a little fishy about J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel meeting with Rupert Murdoch just before Trump dropped his lawsuit against Murdoch. He dropped his lawsuit? Wait, what? Did he drop the lawsuit? Epstein brought her over to Schlump's office but told him she's not for you. Ooh, God, that's so disgusting. Ugh. Jim Jordan, that's right. Because we can't forget about one of the other guys who was involved in a sex scandal. It was a report about Trump and never investigated. Oh my God. Wow. There's so many people that have already said their stories about what happened, and it's so well documented. But that's the point. If they just ignore it and tell us we're crazy, then they can just keep going because they've got the whole goddamn enchilada. Before he filed his lawsuit. Okay. Yes, I remember that. Yeah, I know J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel, who are friends, okay? J.D. Vance is in politics because of Peter Thiel. They're not just acquaintances. They're actually real good friends. But yeah, he filed his lawsuit and they went up to Montana. For those of you who may not be aware, which is not many of you, J.D. Vance is worse than Dump. Dump is just kind of like, existing and doing things for his own self-preservation. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance, Russ Vought, the rest of them, David Sachs, are absolutely the ones trying to destroy the government from the inside out so that it can help no one. Yeah. Vance went to the Murdochs in Montana. Thiel is also connected to Epstein, therefore so is Vance. Yes, actually, Thiel he said he used Epstein for tax advice. But you know what's funny? Epstein wasn't a tax accountant. He was just probably a broker. Invited Devons to the back room, but JD was comfortable on the couch. Don't stop. The couch. We need more whistleblowers. We need more information from the inside. Thank you, Allison Gill, aka Mueller She Wrote, for putting out the call for whistleblowers and getting information back in return. I really appreciate it. But so let's talk about Jim Jordan for a moment, because I was wondering, gosh, last Friday, in the midst of all this news, Jim Jordan was being deposed about the OSU scandal against Dr. Strauss. What happened with that? The powerful Ohio Republican coached wrestlers who say he knew Team Dr. Richard Strauss molested them, but did nothing to protect them. There he is, Jimmy Jordan. You haven't heard much about Jimmy Jordan lately, have you? Isn't that interesting? Has Jim Jordan served his purpose and now he's no longer? I thought he already was deposed. Yeah, he was deposed on Friday. He was deposed last Friday. Yeah. Yeah, JD is a tech bro supporter. He's probably not smart enough to be a tech bro, but they use him and he will do their bidding. So he's an extension of Peter Thiel's arm, basically. If you look at the end of Peter Thiel's arm, it's really JD Vance's face. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Do we get to see that? No, I don't think we get to see it. But we have a report I think I pulled up from someone who witnessed it. So hold on. Rep. Jim Jordan of Ohio, one of Republican Party's top inquisitors in Congress, is expected to be deposed Friday about allegations that he failed to protect the wrestlers he once coached at Ohio State University from a sexual predator. 4 plaintiffs in lawsuits against the university told NBC News. Jordan, who was the assistant wrestling coach at the university from 1986 to 1994 before he got into politics, has repeatedly and publicly denied any knowledge that the team's doctor, Richard Strauss, was preying on the athletes. But we watched the documentary. It will be the first time Jordan has been questioned under oath by lawyers representing hundreds of former OSU students, both athletes and non-athletes, who are suing the school for damages in federal court in the Southern District of Ohio. Jordan is not a defendant, but he is referred to in some of the lawsuits alleging he was aware of the abuse. Jordan, the powerful chairman of the House Judiciary Committee and a staunch ally of Dump, is known for his combative questioning of witnesses and for avoiding suit jackets during it. Ooh, that's catty. That's so catty. American Made. Oh, yeah. Reach for comment. Jordan spokesperson Russell Dye released a variation of the statement that Jordan's team has been using since July 2018, when 3 former OSU wrestlers told NBC News that Jordan was lying when he claimed that he did not know Strauss molested them under the guise of giving physical examinations. As everyone knows, Chairman Jordan,
As everyone knows, Chairman Jordan never saw or heard of any abuse. And if he had, he would have dealt with it because, yeah.
Mike DiSabato, who wrestled for Jordan and was the first former OSU student who publicly accused him of having turned a blind eye to the abuse Strauss inflicted on him and his teammates, said he does not expect Jordan to say any more than he already has. I assume he's going to triple down and follow the same script he followed back in 2018 when he went on Fox and denied knowing about any abuse. Denied being told of any abuse. Never heard the word abuse. What's abuse? DiSabato was referring to an interview with Fox News' Brett Baer, in which Jordan also insisted that he did not hear any locker room banter about Strauss. That's right. Oh, Jordan is a Brandon Gills mentor, if that tells you anything about my U.S. rep. Oh, I did not know. Oh, yeah, that I did know. I'm sorry, I had it switched around. Still, said DiSabato, who previously reached a settlement with OSU, he hopes Jordan will finally come out and admit that he knew Strauss was doing unnecessary prostate exams, doing unnecessary genital exams, taking multiple showers with athletes, all while being employed by a university funded by the state of Ohio. Jordan will sit down for a deposition about a month after the release of an HBO Max documentary about the Strauss scandal called Surviving Ohio State, in which one of the wrestlers he once coached flat out called him a liar. Another Strauss survivor, Steve Snyder-Hill, said he will watch the deposition Friday at his lawyer's office in Columbus. While he is not a former athlete, Snyder-Hill is one of the former OSU students suing the university. I expect him to lie under oath, Snyder-Hill said. I don't know a nicer way to put it. Snyder-Hill said Strauss abused him at a campus clinic in 1995. He said that what the doctor was alleged to have been doing to young men under the guise of giving physical exams eventually became an open secret throughout campus, extending beyond the athletes' locker rooms. Jordan had a locker 2 down from Strauss, and Jordan claims he didn't know, Snyder-Hill said. That's hard to believe. Strauss, who died in 2005, worked at OSU from 1978 through 1998. Prompted by allegations from DiSabato and other former OSU wrestlers, the university agreed to an independent investigation by the Perkins Coie law firm, which concluded in 2019 that coaches and athletic administrators knew for 2 decades that Strauss was molesting male athletes and other students, but failed to sound the alarm or stop him. Yes, so Jordan gave a deposition on Friday. Jordan's former communications director, Ian Fury, insisted on 2019 that the report absolved Jordan. All of the coaches and administrators' names were redacted in the version of the report released to the public. Fury cited as proof a line in the report that said investigators did not identify any other contemporaneous documentary evidence indicating that members of the OSU coaching staff, including head coaches or assistant coaches, received or were aware of complaints regarding Strauss's sexual misconduct. Since the release of the report, OSU has said it paid out $60 million in settlement money, and its former president has publicly apologized to each person who endured abuse at the hands of Strauss. Several of the lawsuits mention Jordan by name. Oops. Did he kill himself? I didn't know that. Still facing at least 5 active lawsuits from 236 men alleging Strauss molested them, too. OSU, which had apologized to Strauss victims and reported in 2019, that Strauss committed 1,429 sexual assaults. 1,429 sexual assaults, and 47 rapes. Walked back its previous position in October 2023 and denied having admitted any wrongdoing. Well, OSU, if you're an OSU alum, you should be on the phone. The settlements it paid out were without admission of liability and were reached through mediation. OSU also argued that the statute of limitations in the case had run out. Evil rips you from the inside out, yeah. But in June 2023, the Supreme Court refused to reconsider a lower court ruling that said that former students should be allowed to sue OSU, paving the way for their lawyers to question Jordan and OSU employees about Strauss. Former athletic director Andy Geiger was deposed Wednesday, NBC affiliate WCMH of Columbus reported. Some of the lawsuits refer to Geiger as one of several people whom student athletes allege they told about the abuse when it was happening. We plan to depose every OSU employee alleged to have known about Strauss's abuse, including the employees named in the complaints, Adele Kimmel, director of the Public Justice Students Civil Rights Project, said in June 2023. So that happened. Let me see, because I thought I had... No! Thought I had something else. Oh, there's a Brazil thing. Brazil. Oh, yeah, more Brazil. This is... What is this? Oh, this is the... wait, what is this? Oh, this is old. This is the Palm Beach County. I just pulled this up. I don't know why I pulled that up. Never mind. Oh, and then I wanted to talk about Gaza. Let's see. Let me see what we got here. And then I got some stable coin. I got stuff. I got a lot of stuff. Okay, we did those already. All right. Yeah, let's see. Let's go ahead and read this. This is from, this is from July 19th. Okay, sorry. I thought this was a little older, but it's not. There should be no limitation on sexual misconduct. The bottom line is that if you watch the documentary, and we did in Discord a few weeks ago, so just wanted you to know, you should join the Discord because we do things like watch movies. It's like what they referred to in that story, like it's an open secret that this was happening, and it spanned the 20 years that guy was the official doctor of OSU, and they, in the documentary, it wasn't just the wrestling team, it was the fencing team, it was all of the teams that this doctor was over. Did you see that old Maggie Haberman column from the early aughts with the quote from Schlump, "When Puff Daddy has a party, I'm the person they call"? I did not see that. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, Trump bought $2 billion in Bitcoin. Just wait until that pyramid collapses. Oh my God. I can't even. How did he buy 200? Wait, how? Oh, $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Okay, I get it. I'm like, how do you afford 2 billion Bitcoin? I'm just kidding. That would be a lot of money. Okay, here we go. This is the New York Times piece from a couple days ago on more Epstein. So we're gonna cover it. We'll read about it, but we also have other things we need to cover this morning. So in the swirl of money and suntanned women that was their Palm Beach and Manhattan set, Donald Dump and Jeffrey Epstein spent nearly 15 years mingling side by side as public friends. Move this over so I... Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, too small. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm really mad at you. Come on. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Na, 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 na. Okay. But behind the tabloid glamour, questions have lingered about what Mr. Dump's long association with Mr. Epstein says about his judgment and character. Especially as his allies have stoked sinister claims about Mr. Epstein's connections to Democrats. After their relationship ruptured, the disgraced financier ended up behind bars not just once, but 2 times after being accused of engaging in sex with teenage girls. Oh yes, nut liquor. That's right, Grace Lisa. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Because Howard Nutlicker, lived right next door to Jeffrey Epstein. So, there it is. Okay. One of the young women who later said Mr. Epstein groomed and abused her was recruited into his world while working as a spa attendant at Mar-a-Lago. Oh my God. Another accuser recalled being eyed by Mr. Trump during a brief encounter in Mr. Epstein's office and claimed that Mr. Epstein had told Mr. Trump at the time, "She's not for you." That's what you were referring to, I think, Max. Another woman has said that Mr. Dump groped her when Mr. Epstein brought her to Trump Tower in Manhattan to meet him. This week, the Wall Street Journal reported that Mr. Dump gave Mr. Epstein a note for his 50th birthday that included a sketch of a naked woman and a cryptic reference to a secret the two men shared, or daily secrets, it sounded like. Mr. Trump has denied writing the message and filed a libel lawsuit on Friday challenging the story. The New York Times has not verified the Journal report. Mr. Trump has never been accused of wrongdoing in connection with the Epstein case and has said he had no idea that Mr. Epstein was abusing young women. In response to a request for a comment about the president's history with Mr. Epstein, Caroline Leavitt, Caroline, the White House press secretary, said that Mr. Dump had barred Mr. Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago club for being a creep. Oh, that was Virginia Roberts who worked at Mar-a-Lago? Oh, okay. Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, that's right, Teresa. Going back to the Strauss thing for a minute at OSU, it was the women's fencing coach got him to stop looking, to the woman made multiple complaints to OSU about Dr. Strauss. So, yeah. Thank goodness for women. Let me make this a little wider. Okay. These stories are tired and pathetic
These stories are tired and pathetic attempts to distract from all the success of President Dump's administration.
That's what she said. Mr. Dump and Epstein largely went separate ways after a falling out around 2004, taking drastically different paths, one towards jail and suicide, the other toward further celebrity in the White House. That's a weird statement. As the criticism of the handling of Mr. Epstein's case mounted over the years, some of Mr. Dump's staunchest allies have promoted theories that the government had covered up the extent of his network to protect what they have described as a cabal of powerful men and celebrities, largely Democrats. Now, that story has entangled Mr. Dump himself into what amounts to one of the biggest controversies in his second White House stint. The conflict has come primarily from his own appointees, who, after months of promoting interest in the files, abruptly changed course and said that there was no secret Epstein client list and backed the official finding that Mr. Epstein had killed himself. Still, under mounting pressure from his own supporters to release the government's files on Mr. Epstein, the president this week ordered the Justice Department to seek the unsealing of grand jury testimony in the criminal case brought against Mr. Epstein in 2019 and 1 year later against his longtime partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year sentence on a sex trafficking conviction. She has asked recently the Supreme Court to consider her appeal. Oops. Trump was a Democrat and Dersh Plants was a Dem. Yeah, there you go. There's the Democrats that were involved. No, I mean, I know all the rest of them, but whatever. So, and expose them all. I don't care. I'm not married to Bill Clinton. I don't give a shit if he goes to prison. I just don't care. Even if they are released, the transcripts are unlikely to shed much light on the relationship between the two men, which did not figure prominently in either criminal case. What seemed to draw them together, according to those who knew them at the time, was a common interest on hitting and competing for attractive young women at parties, nightclubs, and other private events. Mr. Dump and Epstein appear to have met around 1990 when Mr. Epstein bought a property 2 miles north of Mar-a-Lago and set about staking a claim in Palm Beach's moneyed salt air social scene. Mr. Dump, who had already purchased Mar-a-Lago 5 years earlier, had already established his own brash presence in the seaside enclave as a playboy with a taste for gold leaf finery. Yes. He should be gold leafed. Why don't we do that? Sorry. Okay, bye. Bye. Let's see. Where am I? U.S. popularity collapses worldwide. Well, I mean, yeah, that was going to happen. Let's see. Bless you. It's okay. Mr. Dump, who had, okay, yeah. The two had much in common. Both were outer borough New Yorkers who had succeeded in Manhattan. Both were energetic self-promoters, and but bless you. And both had reputations as showy men about town. Are you okay? Oh my God. The sneezing. You're allergic to mornings. I'm allergic to Mondays. In 1992, an NBC News camera captured the pair at a Mar-a-Lago party that featured cheerleaders from the Buffalo Bills who were in town that weekend for a game against the Miami Dolphins. At one point in the footage, Mr. Trump can be seen dancing amid a crowd of young women. Later, he appears to be pointing at other women while whispering something in Epstein's ear, causing him to double over with laughter. Yikes. Months later, when Mr. Dump hosted a party at Mar-a-Lago for young women in a so-called calendar girl competition, Mr. Epstein was the only other guest, according to George Herney, a Florida-based businessman who arranged the event. Yeah, she will. She's fine. It's just morning sneezes. Mr. Herney recalled being surprised that Mr. Epstein was the only other person on the guest list. What? I said, Donald, this is supposed to be a party with VIPs, Mr. Herney told the New York Times in 2019. You're telling me it's you and Epstein? Mr. Herney's then girlfriend and business partner Jill Harth later accused Mr. Trump of sexual misconduct on the night of the party. Hello. In a lawsuit, Ms. Harth said that Mr. Trump took her into a bedroom and forcibly kissed and fondled her and restrained her from leaving. She also said that a 22-year-old contestant told her that Mr. Dump later that night crawled into her bed uninvited. Ms. Harth dropped her lawsuit in 1997 after a related case filed by Mr. Herney was settled by Mr. Dump, who has denied her allegations. Mr. Dump and Mr. Epstein were spotted again at a 1997 Victoria's Secret Angels party in Manhattan. The lingerie company was run by Les Wexner, a billionaire businessman who handed Mr. Epstein sweeping power over his finances, philanthropy, and private life within years of meeting him. There we are. Right. Court records show that Mr. Dump was among those who got rides on Mr. Epstein's private jet. Over 4 years in the 90s, he flew on Mr. Epstein's Boeing 727. Wow. At least 7 times, largely making jaunts between Palm Beach and a private airport in Teterboro, New Jersey, just outside New York. I know, it's so gross. The thing is, his cult loves this stuff about him. I know, Max, this is the point. They actually think this is a flex. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. Mr. Dump told New York Magazine in 2002. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. In 2000, court records show Ms. Maxwell, a British socialite who had long been tied to Mr. Epstein, struck up a conversation with a 17-year-old girl outside a locker room at Mar-a-Lago. Her name was Virginia Giuffre. I don't know how to say her name, Giuffre. And she was a spa attendant at the club, having gotten the job through her father, who worked there as a maintenance man. According to Ms. Giuffre, Ms. Maxwell offered her a job on the spot as a masseuse for Mr. Epstein after seeing that she was reading a book about massage, telling her that she did not need to have any experience. Ugh, so gross. She said that when she was brought to Mr. Epstein's Palm Beach home, she found him laying naked on a table. Ms. Maxwell, she claimed, instructed her on how to massage him. They seemed like nice people, she later testified, so I trusted them. But over the next 2 years or so, Ms. Giuffre claimed that she was forced by Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell to have sex with a series of famous men, including Prince Andrew, a member of the British royal family. Prince Andrew has denied the accusations and declined to help federal prosecutors in their investigation of Mr. Epstein because, I don't know, these men should just be fucking shit canned. I really can't. It is Roberts. Yes, exactly, Giuffre. Ms. Geoffrey, who died by suicide in April, always maintained that she was trafficked to the prince and other men, once telling the BBC that she had been passed around like a platter of fruit to Mr. Epstein's powerful associates. Some women who were in Mr. Epstein's orbit have said that they encountered Mr. Dump during this period. One woman, Maria Farmer, who has said she was victimized by Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, described an encounter with Mr. Dump in 1995 at an office that Mr. Epstein once kept in New York City. As an art student who had moved to New York City to pursue a career as a painter, Ms. Farmer recalled in a 2019 interview that when she was introduced to Mr. Trump, he eyed her, prompting Mr. Epstein to warn him, "She's not for you." Ms. Farmer's mother, Janice Swain, said her daughter had described the interaction with Mr. Dump around the time it occurred. Stacey Williams, a former Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, has said she was groped by Mr. Dump when she was introduced to him by Mr. Epstein, whom she was dating at the time. It was 1993, she said. She was on a walk with Mr. Epstein on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan when he suggested that they pop into Trump Tower to say hello to Mr. Trump. Ms. Williams thought nothing of it at the time because she, as she later put it, Jeffrey talked about Trump all the time. After Trump greeted them in a waiting area outside his office, Ms. Williams said, he pulled her toward him, touching her breasts, waist, and buttocks, as though he was an octopus. She said later she wondered whether she had been part of a challenge or a wager between the two men. "I definitely felt like I was a piece of meat delivered to that office as some sort of game," she recalled to the Times last year. At the time, Mr. Dump's presidential campaign denied that the incident had occurred, calling the allegations unequivocally false and politically motivated. In an interview Friday, Ms. Williams said she was upset to hear Mr. Dump referring to some of the Epstein story as a hoax and boring news. "I mean, it's absurd," she said of him, speaking dismissively of the case. Eventually, in late 2004, Mr. Dump and Epstein ended up squaring off, this time over a piece of real estate. It was the Maison de l'Amitié, French Regency-style manse that sat along the ocean in Palm Beach. The two hyper-competitive men each had their lawyers bid on the property. Ultimately, Dump came out ahead, purchasing it for $41.35 million. There's little public record of the two men interacting after that. Mr. Dump later told associates he had another reason for breaking from Mr. Epstein. His longtime friend, he has said, acted inappropriately to the daughter of a member of Mar-a-Lago, and Mr. Dump felt compelled to bar him from the club. Brad Edwards, a lawyer who has represented many of Mr. Epstein's victims, said Mr. Dump told him a similar story in 2009. Oh, so certain children are not okay to harass. Okay, I got it. Octopodes know, yes, exactly. Octopi, well known for their interest in breasts, waists, and buttocks. Hope that's okay. Not long after the standoff over the beachfront mansion, the Palm Beach police received a tip. Wait a minute. What? Yeah, it probably was Ivanka. Yeah. Not long after the standoff over the beachfront mansion, the Palm Beach police received a tip that young women had been seen going in and out of Mr. Epstein's home. Really? I was wondering about the timing between the legal stuff. Like, I was wondering how Dump was aware or involved in the legal stuff at that time. 4 months later, there was a more substantial complaint from a woman who claimed that her 14-year-old stepdaughter had been paid $300 by Mr. Epstein to give him a massage while she was undressed. That led to a sprawling undercover investigation that identified at least a dozen potential victims. Mr. Epstein hired a team of top lawyers to defend him, among them Alan Dershowitz. Oh, God, he's such a dick. A Harvard law professor who would later represent Mr. Dump, and Ken Starr, the former independent counsel who investigated President Bill Clinton's affair with Monica Lewinsky. The two men helped negotiate a lenient plea deal with Alex Acosta, who was then the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida. Under the deal, Mr. Epstein pled guilty in 2008 to state charges of soliciting prostitution from a minor. In exchange, he was granted immunity from federal charges. As were all of his potential co-conspirators, he also had to register as a sex offender. In the end, Mr. Epstein wound up serving almost 13 months in jail before he was released. For his part, Dump largely steered clear of the controversy, but in February 2015, as he was gearing up for what would end up being a hard-fought campaign against Hillary Clinton, a hard-fought campaign, okay, he sought to connect Mr. Epstein to her husband, the former president. And that Maison de l'Amitié was sold to Russian billionaire Dmitry Schlump purchased the property for 41 million and sold it to for 95. Oh my God. Well, what a good deal that was. Yeah, he probably went after Ivanka, and that was what ended the friendship, right? Okay. Mr. Clinton has got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein, Mr. Dump told Fox News host Sean Hannity during an appearance at the Conservative Political Action Conference, referring to Mr. Epstein's private island where he resided and allegedly trafficked underage girls. A lot of problems. Mr. Clinton has denied visiting the island or having any knowledge of Mr. Epstein's criminal behavior and has said he wishes he had never met him. Well, yeah, it's too late. In July 2019, Mr. Epstein was arrested again. Prosecutors from the Public Corruption Unit of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan charged him with sex trafficking and a conspiracy to traffic minors for sex. Mr. Dump, then in his third year at the White House, immediately sought to distance himself from his old friend. I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him, Mr. Dump told reporters after the charges were revealed. I mean, people in Palm Beach knew him. He was a fixture in Palm Beach. I've had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him in 15 years. I wasn't a fan. The new charges brought renewed scrutiny to the original plea deal. Days after Mr. Epstein's arrest, Mr. Acosta, who had become Trump's labor secretary, announced he would resign amid criticism of his handling of the case. Yes, there is something shady. That's where a lot of the... I wonder why New Mexico or the other places haven't brought any... Well, speaking to reporters about Mr. Acosta's decision, Mr. Trump reiterated that he had broken off his ties with Epstein many, many years ago. He added, "It shows you one thing. I have good taste." Was a girl. In the period I haven't spoken to him, was a girl she's right. When asked if he had any suspicions that Mr. Epstein was molesting young women, Mr. Trump replied, "No, I had no idea. No idea." The next month, after Mr. Epstein was suddenly found dead in his jail cell in Manhattan in what was later ruled a suicide, Mr. Dump weighed in again, reviving what was by then a years-old effort from his first campaign. He shared a social media post that attempted to link the death to Mr. Clinton. It doesn't matter what they do. Days later, when pressed about his unfounded claims of Mr. Clinton's involvement, Mr. Trump did not let up, calling for a full investigation, even though he offered no facts to support his allegations. Epstein had an island that was not a good place, as I understand it, he said, and I was never there. So you have to ask, did Bill Clinton go to the island? When Mr. Dump was asked about the arrest of Miss Maxwell in the summer of 2020 on charges that included the enticement and trafficking of children, his answer left some of his own allies confused. I wish her well, whatever it is, Mr. Trump. Am I muted? Am I muted? No. Am I muted? No. In recent weeks, right-wing influencers and Mr. Trump's rank-and-file supporters expressed outrage over his administration's conclusion that there were no revelations to share about the case, not the least because of some of the president's top law enforcement officials, including Attorney General Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, the FBI director, had promised to reveal more information about Mr. Epstein's crimes. Mr. Dump sought to quiet the demands, calling the Epstein scandal a hoax made up by his Democratic adversaries. He also described it as a subject unworthy of further scrutiny. Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Mr. Trump asked reporters with exasperation at a cabinet meeting on July 8th. This guy's been talked about for years. Oh, Maggie Haberman. Interesting. Interesting. This is old, so I'm just going to link this. I don't have to read this, but I'm just going to link this in the description so that you have it. This one I wanted to read too. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. Let's see. Do I want this? What is this? This is July 17th. Okay, this is good. This is an article from The Dissident. So we're switching gears. Are you still talking about Obama? Yeah, exactly. The New Mexico compound, he wanted to seed the human race. Oh, yeah, I've heard that. That's what Epstein wanted. That's so weird. That's so weird. The New Mexico compound was gearing up to be a eugenics place for Epstein to impregnate girls. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. I mean, this is the thing. If we all know this, what in the fuck? What in the fuck is wrong with this? What in the fuck is wrong with people? I just don't understand it. Okay, this is a piece out of The Dissident. I don't know who gave me this. Hold on. I think someone gave me this, or I might have sent this to myself. This is so small. Okay, that's better. All right. I think I need to smoke some weed first. Are you? Yeah. That would be so classic for a reporter to ask Klump that. Wait, what did you say, Carla? Where is it? Carla. Are you still talking about? Oh yeah. I guess I understand why press people in like the press conferences don't push back more on non-answers, because they're probably going to get ejected from it if they do that. You know what I mean? If they get, and so then there's no chance of them covering so I guess I get it, but it's very frustrating. All right, here we go. The American information space is not merely changing, it is undergoing a hostile takeover. It is a deliberate, coordinated campaign by a new class of oligarchs out of Silicon Valley that includes Bezos, Musk, Larry Ellison, and Mark Zuckerberg, acting in concert with a Trump-led authoritarian political project. Their goal is singular: to systematically dismantle the free press and rebuild it as a network of propaganda organs designed to protect and uphold the regime and the oligarchs. The gutting of the Washington Post is not a separate event from the algorithmic manipulation of X. The defunding of PBS is not disconnected from the weaponization of the FCC. These are interconnected fronts in a single, undeclared war on the very concept of an informed public. To understand the nature of this war, you must turn to Hannah Arendt and her concept of a fool's freedom. The modern deprivation of rights comes not from the overt censorship of opinion, but from the construction of an ecosystem where that opinion is rendered impotent. It is the freedom to speak into the abyss. What good is the right to an opinion if that opinion can never gain traction, never reach a critical mass, and therefore never matter? The oligarchs' total control over the means of distribution, the algorithms of Google, TikTok, Meta, and X, is the silent, brutally effective mechanism for enforcing this new, more insidious form of authoritarianism. The first front in this war is the capture and neutering of the legacy press from within. The billionaire owners of media, acting more as a political ideologue than a business custodian, have seized direct control of the nation's most storied newsrooms. The narrative of financial necessity has become the perfect camouflage for an ideological purge. The language of reinvention and transformation is a smokescreen, obscuring a systematic effort to install loyalists, enforce regime-friendly editorial lines, and drive out any journalist who dares to uphold the quaint notion of holding power to account. This is a coordinated purge executed by a new class of authoritarian oligarchs who see a free press not as a pillar of democracy, but as an obstacle to their regime. The Washington Post's famous slogan, "Democracy dies in darkness," now reads like a grim epitaph carved on its own tombstone. Democracy died, and Jeff Bezos helped take it out back to shoot it and bury it for good measure. When Jeff Bezos bought the paper, many in media hoped for a savior. Instead, it got an executioner and an undertaker. The veneer of benevolent, hands-off ownership fell away as the prospect of a second Trump administration loomed, and the Amazon kingpin began his work, systematically gutting the institution and bending it to his will. Yeah, it always read like that. Yeah. True. The purge that followed was brutal. Under the watch of CEO Will Lewis, a political hatchet man brought over from the Murdoch empire, a wave of talent was driven out. Veterans with decades of experience were shown the door. A Pulitzer-winning cartoonist was silenced for satirizing the new power structure. Those who weren't fired were encouraged to take buyouts, fleeing a newsroom consumed by a crisis of purpose. What remains is a hollowed-out shell, a once great institution forced into dutiful submission. On the West Coast, the same playbook is running its course at the Los Angeles Times. Billionaire owner Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong has presided over a slow-motion demolition, using the cudgel of financial crisis to carry out a political hit. Under the cover of staggering financial losses that have only mounted under his ownership, Soon-Shiong has unleashed a relentless series of layoffs, gutting over 20% of the newsroom and leaving it, in the words of its own union, a shadow of its former self. But the campaign isn't just about the bottom line. It's about silencing a powerful critical voice. Like Bezos, Soon-Shiong personally intervened to kill a presidential endorsement that would have angered Trump. He has since been explicit about his goal of imposing a more balanced ideological approach, and to do so, he has brought in Republican operatives, including the former head of a pro-Trump PAC, to help reshape the paper's editorial board. The strategy is clear: starve the newsroom, then restaff it with loyalists. The capture of individual newspapers is only phase one. The next is to weaken any remaining progressive outposts, leaving them vulnerable. MSNBC, long a bastion of liberal politics under its headline star Rachel Maddow, is being led to the slaughter. Parent company Comcast is spinning the network off, severing it from the newsroom of NBC News and the broader protection of NBC Universal. This isn't a business decision, it's an abandonment. MSNBC is being left on the side of the road, an isolated and weakened target ripe for takeover. The jokes by Elon Musk about buying the network and firing its stars are not jokes at all. They are the vultures circling, a public declaration of intent from the oligarch class. And their ambition doesn't stop at the news. It extends to the very fabric of culture. The persistent rumors that Jeff Bezos plans to acquire Condé Nast, which includes Vogue, Wired, The New Yorker, and Vanity Fair, as a wedding gift for his wife, Lauren Sanchez, reveals the endgame. This is the terminal stage of oligarchic conquest, where the power to shape global culture is reduced to a personal trinket. It is the ultimate expression of contempt for the public sphere, a world where the means of mass communication become just another luxury good, molded to the whims of our new feudal lords. While the oligarchs have been conducting a hostile takeover of legacy media, they have also been slowly amping up their control of the algorithms that curate reality itself to the vast majority of the population. It's a hostile takeover of the digital public square by a handful of oligarchs acting in service to an authoritarian regime. The For You page and the newsfeed have been weaponized, turned from sorting tools into active instruments of political power used to manufacture consent and crush dissent on a scale that makes old world propaganda look primitive. Elon Musk's seizure of Twitter and its rebranding as X is the playbook's most brazen chapter. Under the fraudulent banner of free speech absolutism, he gutted the platform and began the real work, transforming a global communication tool into his personal propaganda megaphone. His philosophy of freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, was a lie from the start, a pretext for a system where his allies are amplified and his critics are shadow banned into oblivion. After his endorsement of Dump, the political agenda became undeniable. Researchers identified a structural break in the algorithm, a point where the code was rewritten to systematically favor Republican accounts. The system is now so blatantly biased that it has triggered investigations by the European Commission. The final piece of this ideological propaganda project is Grok. His AI chatbot, that calls itself Mecha Hitler, just last week, is being aligned to avoid being woke, creating a model that reflects his own paranoid worldview back at him. While Musk's takeover was a frontal assault, Mark Zuckerberg's at Meta is a strategic surrender. Facing the threat of a vengeful Trump administration, Zuckerberg has preemptively neutered his platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, to appease to the ascendant right. This is not principle. It is appeasement from a man who was seemingly birthed without a spine or a personality of his own. Ouch. Ouch. In a sweeping act of capitulation dressed in gaudy chains and baggy t-shirts, Zuckerberg dismantled Meta's third-party fact-checking program, a system long despised by conservatives, and replacing it with a manipulated community notes model imported from Musk's X. He has opened the floodgates for inflier generation. The forced sale of the platform from its Chinese parent company, justified under the pretext of national security, is a blatant lie. The true objective is not to protect American data, which could be done by passing meaningful data protections, but rather to seize control of the world's most powerful algorithm for influencing youth culture. The leading proposed buyer is a consortium led by Oracle founder Larry Ellison, one of Dump's most powerful and loyal allies in Silicon Valley, and whose son David Ellison is currently finalizing his own takeover of Paramount and plans on repurposing CBS News into a propaganda organ by placing Barry Weiss in charge. Oh my God. Placing TikTok in the hands of a regime loyalist is the strategic masterstroke. It would give them direct control over the primary information channel for a generation that has been historically resistant to their message. It's true. Oh, Tom, are you out? Yeah, Gary's Economics. Absolutely, Tom. Tom, are you out? Oh, you got to run. Much love. Love you too. It is the power to decide which trends, what is cool, and what is thinkable. The forced sale of TikTok is nothing less than a state-orchestrated hostile takeover of the youth's collective consciousness. The oligarch's private capture of the media is but one arm of a pincer movement. The other is a direct state-led assault by the Dump administration and its allies on any remaining sources of independent information. This demonstrates a core tenet of modern authoritarianism. There is no distinction between the state and the party. All levers of government, from regulatory agencies to the justice system and the federal budget, are seen not as instruments of public service, but rather as legitimate weapons to be used to reward allies and punish enemies. From this perspective, these actions are not an abuse of the system, they are the system's intended purpose. The campaign to destroy public broadcasting in America is a long-term strategic priority for the Jump movement, laid bare in the pages of Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation's comprehensive playbook for a second Trump term. The plan is not merely to reform public media, but to annihilate it. Project 2025 explicitly calls for the complete defunding of the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, which provides essential funding for NPR and PBS stations across the country. The blueprint goes further, advocating for stripping these outlets of their non-commercial educational status, and even moving them off their desirable FM radio frequencies to make way for religious and Christian nationalist broadcasting. Oh my God. The justification is that public media is a liberal disinformation machine that must be dismantled. The rescission package, expected to pass Congress, which it did, will zero out funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and claw back $1.1 billion already allocated to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Yeah, I feel sick too. This effort to starve public media would be devastating, particularly for rural and underserved communities that rely on these stations as their primary source of local news and emergency information, effectively creating vast news deserts across the country. That's entirely the point. They need to ensure that those living in rural areas become hopelessly dependent on propaganda in order to access even basic information about the world around them. The final weapon in the state's arsenal is the legal and regulatory system itself, which is being wielded to intimidate, extort, and co-opt media organizations into submission. The Dump administration is increasingly using every aspect of government to intimidate and coerce media organizations into yielding to its narrative. The most chilling precedent is the $16 million settlement paid by Paramount Global, the parent company of CBS, to end a frivolous lawsuit brought by Donald Dump. Paramount has an $8.4 billion merger with Skydance Media pending before the Trump-controlled FCC. The FCC chairman, really horrible person Brendan Carr, had already reopened a dubious news distortion investigation into the very same interview, placing the merger in jeopardy. Facing this immense pressure, Paramount capitulated. This is the problem. We don't have very brave companies. This case is part of a broader pattern of using various federal agencies as a sword of Damocles. Trump and his appointees have repeatedly threatened to use the power of FCC and FTC, Federal Trade Commission, to punish their perceived enemies. This includes threats to revoke the broadcast licenses of networks like NBC and ABC for country-threatening treason, launching politically motivated investigations into news outlets, and promising to bring these supposedly independent agencies under direct presidential authority. The strategy of direct state coercion creates a pervasive climate of fear, encouraging self-censorship and ensuring that media owners think twice before publishing anything that might anger the regime. You lost me a sword of Damocles. Some of these total actions by the oligarchs to capture legacy media, manipulate the algorithmic control of digital platforms, and use the state to assault any remaining independent voices has created a terrifyingly effective new model of information control. It is a system that maintains the outward appearance of a free and diverse media landscape. We still have websites to browse, podcasts to download, and newsletters to subscribe to. Many will even be harshly critical of the oligarchs and the Trump administration. We still possess, in the narrowest legal sense, the right to an opinion. Well, do we though? But this is a fool's freedom, often without much attention to what it is. Yeah. Don't be frightened, YouTube. This is what your owners want. Yeah, exactly. Oh, really? There has the sword of Damocles? I haven't heard it mentioned lately. The oligarchs' control over the critical As Hannah Arendt noted, the most profound deprivation of rights occurs not when you are forbidden to have an opinion, but when your opinion is rendered meaningless. The oligarchs' control over the critical infrastructure of information distribution is the ultimate choke point. They are the gatekeepers of relevance and the silent arbiters of what is seen and what is buried, what is amplified and what is ignored. That's disinformation. Like, disinformation is really it, okay? Like, disinformation is it. And if we attack disinformation, I really feel like we can make a fucking, I don't know. New song from Rocky Horror. Now a song from Rocky Horror is playing. The new reality destroys the very possibility of public accountability. An independent journalist can break a world-changing story. A citizen can voice powerful dissent. But if these are algorithmically suppressed, they cannot reach a critical mass. They cannot generate public outrage. They cannot hold power to account. This is speech without consequence, opinion without impact. Arendt's concept of action, meaning the speech and the deeds through which we appear to one another and create a shared public world, is rendered impossible. We are witnessing the construction of a sophisticated 21st century propaganda state. It is a state that doesn't need to burn books when it can simply change the algorithm. It maintains the illusion of choice while ensuring, through a seamless integration of private ownership, state intimidation, and algorithmic control, that only one narrative prevails. The choice we are left with is not between different news sources, but between different flavors of state and oligarch-approved information. This is the grim reality of the fool's freedom in which we now live. This is good. That's a great piece. That's a great piece. That's a great piece. All right, let's continue. Why am I not smoking any weed? What happened? You guys let me go this far without smoking 1 ounce, 2 hours. That was a great piece. Yeah, no, that was. Oh, it was by. Sorry. Remember. It's from The Dissident, Alejandra Caraballo. From The Dissident, thedissident.news. I don't know where I picked it up. I probably picked it up from Blue Sky. I don't really remember. But let me I'll throw it in the chat now. Do 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 do. Yeah. Yeah. In the dissident.news. Harvard alumni speak before 2.6 million. La la la. Just seeing if there's anything like super importante. Da, 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 da. Can I just ask another thing? Why in the hell was Kristi Noem or Pam Bondi? I don't know which one. I think it was Pam Bondi. Why did Pam Bondi immediately respond to the 3 sheriff's deputies who were killed in the explosives training accident on Saturday, I think, or I don't know what day that was. Friday, Saturday. She was on the phone like immediately. Like, what does she have to do with an explosion at a sheriff's deputy thing? I don't get that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really get that. Anyway, this was on my mind. Anyway, that's what's on my mind, baby. Let me get this. I'm going to give you this link. There is the link to the last thing I read. See if the source. There you go. Where am I? There I am. This one's good. I thought this was good when I saw this story. It didn't get nearly enough attention. So, Alcatraz. 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 Oh my God, my hair is in my face. Okay. This one will make you happy, kind of. Not really. Actually, this won't make you happy. What song is that? Well, I woke up this morning and you were on my mind. You were on my mind. You were always on my mind. Okay. This is from the Washington Post from the 16th, so from last week. But we're not going to miss it. No. We're going to read about this. NIH official fired amid probe of contract used to potentially hire spouse, officials say. NIH Chief Operating Officer Eric Schnabel was fired as officials were looking into whether a $3.3 million contract could have benefited his spouse. What? Get out of town. A senior national... Oh, Val, you're here. Hi, love. How are you, sweetheart? Oh, I'm so mad about that fucking... The Mac was working, so I don't understand. Oh, I still have to send you something. Oh, my God. I'm just out of it. A senior National Institutes of Health for the news, or the news was last week. 2 high HHS officials fired last week. Oh, interesting. What's the Seekers mean? I don't know what that means. Oh, the 1960 song, We Five, the California sound. Oh, okay. I don't remember. I just can't. Sometimes with lyrics, I can't pick up on the song. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. A senior National Institutes of Health leader was fired last Monday, amid an investigation into a contract on autism and other topics that could have benefited his spouse, according to 3 officials familiar with the incident who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly. Oh my God. A $3.3 million NIH contract to a Louisiana company, Argo Chasing, named Trish Duffy Schnabel, the wife of the NIH's chief operating officer, on its list of staff, according to the officials. The award, made in early July, supports work on several matters, including autism, a topic that is a priority of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. On Monday afternoon, NIH's chief operating officer, Schnabel, was escorted out of the building just 3 months into his job. You guys, according to officials, an HHS spokesman declined to comment on a personnel matter. I think that's so exciting. One of these guys got caught. Trish and Eric Schnabel did not answer phone calls and did not immediately respond to voicemail messages last Tuesday. On Wednesday morning, Schnabel texted a Post reporter identifying himself as the former chief operating officer of the NIH. I need your help. I didn't do what they said I did, he wrote. This was a political hit job. Please call me. Schnabel did not answer a follow-up phone call nor a question asking him to expand on his statements. So, yeah. Argo Chasing is an advisory firm based in Shreveport, Louisiana, focused on project management services. An email to the company and calls to the company leadership were not immediately returned. On LinkedIn, the company profile says it has fewer than 50 employees. Trish Schnabel, a licensed professional counselor, according to an online profile, who sometimes uses her maiden name Duffy, would have been one of the staff supported by the contract, and she would not have received the full $3.3 million, according to would have been according to officials. According to a federal website, NIH awarded a sole source contract. The contract supports project coordination and subject matter expert support for a broad swath of administration priorities, including autism, counterintelligence, and high-level strategic research security. Weird combo. An internal spreadsheet obtained by the Washington Post showed that Trish Schnabel was being onboarded as a senior analyst in the Division of Program Coordination, Planning, and Strategic Initiatives. Oops. It was not immediately clear what specifically sparked the contract inquiry. Eric Schnabel joined NIH as Chief Operating Officer in April after 25 years in the Army. In the email announcing his arrival, NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya said Schnabel had held pivotal security and operations roles within the Army and the Department of Defense and corporate America, and emphasized that he would play a key role in NIH at detecting, deterring, and responding to threats. In a message to staff in late April, Schnabel introduced himself to NIH leadership with a list of, quote, my priorities as COO, which included upholding the highest standards expected of federal government operations, except for my wife. He said he had been chosen for his role for my proven ability to lead, and also emphasized the importance of commitment to professionalism and discipline. He issued a warning about what he called malicious compliance, which he said would not be tolerated. That's right. Probably one of the other bidders was like, what? Give me a break. To clarify, the definition of malicious compliance is when individuals deliberately, to clarify, the definition of malicious compliance is when individuals deliberately follow instructions or rules in a way that they know will cause problems or inefficiencies, often to highlight flaws or out of protest. This behavior, while subtle, is detrimental to our culture. Schnabel's departure was so abrupt that some staff showed up for meetings with him on Tuesday, only to be told he was gone. NIH employees. Oops. Thank you, Carolyn Johnson. Oh yeah, we read that already. Okay, yeah, I wanted to go for this. This is also from last week, a Mother Jones piece. Jay Bhattacharya, he's the head of something. I don't know. What is he the head of? I think Trump has lunch with the vice president. Don't drink the tea. Don't drink the tea. That's all I have to say. They don't really need him anymore. I'm just going to say it again. You know, this administration doesn't really need Dump at this point, because they passed the big beautiful bill. They've passed the rescission package. I think there's another one coming up. They've got it. They don't need him. They don't. So I'm not sure how long this windbag is going to be around. But I'm going to tell you, it might just be one Jeffrey Epstein thing and this guy falls out a window. I'm just saying. And all of a sudden that vein issue becomes a real, blood clot. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, okay. Here's another piece. This is from Mother Jones from July 17th. The shocking rise of one of the tech right's favorite posters. Let's learn about this idiot. After he leaked Zohran Mamdani's Columbia application data to the New York Times, critics called Jordan Lasker a eugenicist. A Mother Jones report shows that there's much more to his backstory. Here we go. Jordan Lasker, an ex-user who goes by the name Crémieux, recently made news by providing the New York Times with, I don't know if I said that right, with hacked data that showed the New York City Democratic mayoral nominee Zohran Mamdani had identified as both Asian and African American on his undergraduate application to Columbia University. While Lasker quickly celebrated his time in the spotlight, critics were appalled that the Times was relying on a source they described as a eugenicist. But Lasker, according to interviews with people who know him, appears to have more worrisome history than the current backlash might suggest. No. Really? Get out of town. A Reddit account named Fallacier, which posted highly specific biographical details that overlapped with Lasker's online life, and which a childhood friend of Lasker's believes he was behind, wrote in 2016, quote, I actually am a Jewish white supremacist Nazi. The Reddit comment, which has not been previously reported, is one of thousands now deleted posts from the Fallacier account obtained by Mother Jones in February. In other posts written between 2014 and 2016, Fallacier endorses Nazism, eugenics, and racism. He wishes happy birthday to Adolf Hitler and says that I support eugenics, and uses a racial slur when saying those that are attracted to black people should kill themselves. Wow. This is a quote. Low IQ savages have nothing to contribute to the West, Fallacier wrote in a representative 2016 post. If you want them to degenerate anyone's heritage, don't make it someone else. Fuck yourself up. Go have kids with an N-word, but do not push your race traitor propagandism on the masses. Oh, what a charming asshole. He should be gone. In the comments, the account used the name Jordan on one occasion and made clear that Lasker was a family surname and posted an internet IP address associated with Lasker's hometown of Macon, Georgia. Bhattacharya, the Barrington something something. There are at least 2 websites on which a Jordan Lasker has used the Fallacier handle. Additionally, Zlatan Lasker of Atlanta has used the Fallacier handle on chess.com. On Reddit, Fallacier claimed the German Jewish chess grandmaster Emanuel Lasker was one of his ancestors. Oh. Lasker's childhood friend told Mother Jones that Lasker, who is now 29, according to public records, used the Fallacier handle Fallacier while playing video games online. Oh boy, you know what? Your PlayStation is gonna sink you guys. You know what I'm saying? Creamy. Oh, gross. They came across the Reddit account. Wait a minute. After Lasker's Facebook post seemed to take a strange turn in college, the friends searched to see whether Lasker was writing anything online as Fallacier. They came across the Reddit account and concluded that their old friend was posting race science as Fallacier. Mother Jones obtained the Reddit post independently of the friend. Numerous personal details shared by the Fallacier account also correspond with Lasker's own biography. Both became Eagle Scouts around the same time, shared an interest in 5K road races in Macon, and were members of Alpha Epsilon Pi, a Jewish fraternity, during the 2014-15 academic year. Lasker did not respond for comment. Lasker could easily be ignored during the period that Fallacier was posting. That is no longer the case. On Substack, Cremier has more than 23,000 subscribers. Wow, good enough for the 14th in the science category. On X, his account has more than 260,000 followers. How the hell do these people get so many followers? One is Vice President J.D. Vance. What? Others are major figures in the right-wing tech world: Joe Lonsdale, Chamath Palihapitiya, Mark Andreessen, or members of the Trump administration, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, White House crypto and artificial intelligence czar David Sachs, Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services Jim O'Neill. Lasker's ties to the current administration are unclear. Really? Are they? He claimed last month to be a friend of O'Neill's, who used to be the chief executive officer for the foundation of Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel. What? I know, I hate the crown stuff too. You can turn it off in your settings, but you guys unfortunately have to be the ones to turn it off. I can only turn it off for me, which is so weird. I'm very sorry about that. And a post from February indicated inside knowledge about the administration and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. During that time, Musk was frequently amplifying Cremier's post on X. The New York Times story about Mamdani's 2009 application to Columbia was quickly seized upon by Mamdani's detractors, who argued that he was trying to take advantage of affirmative action for black applicants. Mamdani has said he was trying to capture the complexity of his identity as someone who was born in Uganda to parents of Indian descent. Period. That conversation should be over. An early version of the Times article stated that the hacked application data was obtained via an intermediary who goes by the name Cremier on Substack and X, who is an academic and an opponent of affirmative action. A later version of the article added that Cremier often writes about IQ and race. The Times also agreed to withhold Cremier's real name, even though it was already publicly known. The Guardian reported in March that Lasker was behind the account. Lasker has been cagey about his connection to Cremier, even when on camera. During a recent in-studio interview, right-wing media personality Charlie Kirk asked Lasker if he could identify him as Jordan. "Oh, Jay is probably better," Lasker replied, appearing surprised to hear his real name. Kirk then asked his production team to restart because he wanted to make sure I protect however you want to be presented. In keeping with Lasker's request, a chyron identified Cremier as Jay Lasker. Oops. These days, Lasker writes about a range of things as Cremier, including such as weight loss drugs, probability markets, and data analysis. Since gaining a following on X, Lasker has called Holocaust deniers some of the dumbest people around and has praised Adolphe Cremier The 19th century French politician, his account is named after for promoting classic liberal principles. His account now appears to be popular not only with members of the tech right, but also some liberals and self-styled rationalists. But it is clear that he remains interested in race science. Following the Times story, The Atlantic published a piece by former Mother Jones reporter Ali Breland about Lasker under the headline, "A Race Science Blogger Goes Mainstream." Lasker wrote a detailed response on X containing his objections to the article, in which he stated that he had never supported racist policy matter, been hostile to members of any race for reasons of race, or anything that genuinely qualifies as racism. I don't know what you're talking about. Cremieux has also posted many times on X about black people having lower IQs. In 2022, Lasker's first article on Substack as Cremieux concluded with the claim that, quote, whatever travails American blacks suffered during slavery no longer mattered for their socioeconomic attainment today, end quote. Under his own name, Lasker has co-written pages with titles like Racial and Ethnic Group Differences in the Heritability of Intelligence, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis, and Global Ancestry and Cognitive Ability. The authors concluded in the latter that European ancestry was a consistent predictor of cognitive ability, even after entering various controls into our models. Oh my God. Nazis, okay? Nazis, self-styled rationalists. Another commonality between Lasker and the Falasier account is a penchant for making outlandish claims about their relationship to Judaism. Specifically, the account claimed at different points to be an atheist Jew who was proficient in German, Yiddish, and Ladino, an Israeli with a place in Eilat, and 58% Ashkenazi. The claim about being majority Ashkenazi would have a clear benefit for Falasier, who argued the group has a genetic advantage when it comes to IQ. Despite the many claims about his Jewish identity, Falasier self-identified as a Nazi. I'm Jewish and a National Socialist, Falasier wrote. He claimed in 2016 that some of his own ancestors fit the same mold. Quote, my family were considered to be Edeljude, noble Jews, because we were some of the first German nationalists and Hitler loved Germany, so he declared us Aryan. Claims like this appear to have made Falasier notorious on some parts of Reddit. In posts that are still available online, one Reddit user described Falasier as a, quote, Jewish Nazi apologist. A second user called out Falasier for an alliterative post attacking a coalition of, this is a slur, kikes, forgive me. And a third user flagged a post from Falasier that included the line, does this person not realize the huge negatives to race mixing, or are they just ignorant? End quote. Falasier posed the last question in a subreddit devoted to discussing the Gamergate online harassment campaign, which is part of how we got here. Falasier was also known to some members of the Reddit Judaism subreddit. As one user wrote about Falasier's post on the notoriously racist European subreddit, that user is probably the worst one on there. He actually claims to be Jewish. According to his childhood friend, Lasker was raised as a Christian and appeared to convert to Judaism in college. The friend found out after seeing on Facebook that Lasker's display name was in Hebrew and discovered he had joined a Jewish fraternity. A second person told Mother Jones that Lasker's parents are not Jewish and are of a Christian background. A person who knew Lasker in college said Lasker rushed for Alpha Epsilon Pi wearing a kippah, adopted a Hebrew pronunciation of his first name, and would try to go toe-to-toe about his knowledge of the Torah with fellow members of the fraternity. Quote, he would try to out-Jew some of the guys, the person said. They added that Lasker is a pathological liar and doubt that he ever formally converted to Judaism. The childhood friend said Lasker had always wanted to be the smartest person in the room and had a reputation for being a liar. That appears to have included Lasker falsely telling people that he got what they considered a suspiciously high SAT score. One of my friends asked for proof, and Lasker just showed him an image that looked like it had probably been saved from the internet, the childhood friend said. According to the friend, Lasker also told people that he had been admitted to Georgia Tech, the most competitive public school in the state. They added that the story fell apart when someone from their high school ended up in a freshman seminar with Lasker at another school, Georgia Southern University. I don't know what Falasier means. I hope I'm saying that right, too. Lasker later moved on to a second college before ultimately graduating from Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in southern Georgia. He then appears to have enrolled in a PhD program at Texas Tech. It's unclear whether he graduated or is still affiliated with the university. An assistant president at Texas Tech, vice president rather, told Mother Jones that in accordance with federal privacy law, we are unable to provide any information. Offline, Lasker appears to still be making false claims about his relationship to Judaism. Two people told Mother Jones that Lasker at recent in-person events has claimed to have even been raised Jewish. There you go. Jordan Lasker. That's one of the trolls. Let's see what else. What would be a nice... What's that? Oh, we read that already. And we read that already. Did we read this? No. Wait, what was this? Oh, actually, I wanted to try and find this. Let me see if I can find this. I want to see if there is an archive. Yeah. Yeah. No, just go back. Let's go back to Jurassic Park. Let's go back. Oh, man. Na 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 na. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Mm-hmm. Did we? I wonder if we read that. Yeah. Please work. Please work. Please work. Damn it. Why haven't you done that? Why haven't you done that? Oh, no. Fuck. Damn. Okay, I can't read that one because I can't get past the paywall. Frick and frack. All right, I can't read. It's something about the OIG, and I really wanted to read it. God damn it! I want my subscriptions back. Okay, can I just tell you that? I know I'm bad, but I want my subscriptions back. All right. Okay, we're gonna switch gears here. We're moving to Brazil. Not really. Is there a reason we're repeating this guy's Nazi statements? Well, what do you mean? No, I found it an interesting story. I like to hear about like people like who are doing the messaging on some of this stuff, like Chris Rufo and stuff like that. I put him in the same category as like a Chris Rufo. So no, I'm sorry that I repeated his Nazi statements. I was reading the story, so. And I want to know about people like Chris Rufo and these guys because they become important when it comes to debunking the messages. Mother Jones did. Yeah, that's true. Mother Jones did. But I read them. I thought that's what you were talking about. Okay. I'm asking what matters about him. Oh, what matters about him? Well, I think it's just establishing that he might have his ties to the administration. I think of him as much, I really think of him in much the same way as a Chris Rufo. You posted how to turn, you're kidding me. You posted how to turn off, and here you are with the New York Times. I know. Wow, it's a tough crowd this morning. That's not even lit. Okay. Well, forget about it. Now we're going to talk about Brazil. So there. This is the Tech Policy Press. You just posted on how to turn off. How did it get stuck? Hold on. Let me see if it's over here, because sometimes it shows me like shit that got like held for. No, it didn't. It didn't. Oh yeah, what was that thing? I just saw Teresa's comment about Trump's health. What was that dumb thing about his like he shakes too many hands, that's why his hand is all bruised? Is that really, she really expects us to believe that? Are you kidding me? Oh, you rewrote it. Okay, sign into YouTube, go to settings, select privacy. In the live chat section, toggle off the leaderboard. by selecting turn off leaderboard participation. That's what you have to do. You have to go into your YouTube, your YouTube account, go to settings, it's on the side, go to privacy, and in the live chat, toggle off the leaderboard piece. It did look like dead tissue. How about Trump's trying to force the Washington Commanders to change their name back to the Redskins? Feds won't kick in any money for the new stadium. What? He's doing all that. You know, the other story that's still playing out there is the fact that he's wait, what was it? Oh, they haven't actually given oh, you toggled it in and off. Okay. So just make sure you toggle it. Chris Rufo is a disgruntled white boy. Yes, he is. We shouldn't be competing. Yeah, we're a team. We don't compete over here. Who cares? I just think it's so silly. But yeah, that's why I find people like that interesting, because their names are going to come up later on too. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to come up later on. And then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, I know who Jordan Lasker is. Get out of town. We talked about that months ago. And then you'll have it'll be moral superiority. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping you get moral superiority out of it. I heard that too, Max, or kidney liver failure. Yeah. I mean, he's sick. He's old. You know, he didn't live a good life. All right. He's probably got shit that's going to start popping up. That's the way it is. Welcome to, impending death, because it's coming for you too. Dumpy dump. But here's a piece. Tech Policy Press. I don't know if Lee, if you gave me this, I didn't write. I don't know how I got this. I think it might have been, I don't know. Lee, was this something that you gave me? Trump's new Brazil tariffs aren't about trade. Aren't about trade, and they're not about free speech. Maybe you did. This is from earlier this month. It's an analysis piece. Okay. On July 9th, United States President Donald Trump announced that he was slapping 50% tariffs on Brazilian products starting August 1st. But despite his justifications delivered in his characteristic style, these tariffs are hardly about trade. They appear to represent another attempt by the White House to meddle with Brazil's sovereignty and rule of law. In a letter addressed to Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, uploaded to his Truth Social account, Trump attributed his decision to apply tariffs, quote, due in part to Brazil's insidious attacks on free elections and the fundamental free speech rights of Americans. What? How does that happen? A few hours later, President Lula published a statement on X in which he reaffirmed that Brazil is a sovereign nation with independent institutions that will not accept being tutored by anyone, and vowed to reciprocate Trump's tariffs. Sovereignty, respect, and the uncompromising defense of the interests of Brazilian people are the values that guide our relationship with the world, wrote Lula. In a post on the social media platform Blue Sky, University of California Irvine Law School professor and former United Nations Special Rapporteur on the promotion and protection of the right to freedom of opinion and expression observed that Trump's letter is, quote, out of control, political interference disguised as trade policy. Indeed, there are multiple reasons to believe that trade is not the issue at play. First and foremost, historically, the U.S.-Brazil trade balance has weighed in favor of the U.S. That's right. Since 2009, Brazil has recorded trade deficits with us, the U.S. In these 16 years, U.S. sales to Brazil exceeded imports by $90.28 billion. In 2024, the surplus was $7.4 billion. A 32% increase over 2023. This puts the Brazilian economy at a disadvantage, contrary to the very unfair trade relationship Trump describes in his letter. That's right. The second reason is laid out explicitly by Trump in the first paragraph of his letter. Where's Carla when you need a song that fits the conversation? Oh, the leaderboards. Trump has a problem putting his shoes on. He might be the first flip-flop wearing president. Can you imagine? Heard the White House is saying 100% tariffs on Brazil, Chindia, that's a new country, China and India, because they buy from Russia. Okay, sure. All right, Jan. Sure, Jan. Trump doesn't have anything better to do but to rename a football team. Yep. I met him on the YouTube chat. All right. The way that
Brazil has tweeted former President Jair Bolsonaro, a highly respected leader throughout the world during his term, including by the United States, is an international disgrace. This trial should not be taking place. It's a witch hunt that should end immediately.
The trial Trump refers to as being held by the Brazilian Supreme Court. It aims to decide whether former President Jair Bolsonaro should be held accountable for his role in the attempted coup d'etat and the events of January 8, 2023, when his supporters stormed the capital city of Brasilia and ransacked Congress, the Supreme Court, and the presidential office. I know, Chindia. My brain is shorted. Just a month ago, Bolsonaro was deposed in the Supreme Court and questioned by Justice Alexandre de Moraes. During Bolsonaro's term, Moraes was a key figure in the effort to enforce the rule of law to curb Bolsonaro and his allies' attacks on democracy and the electoral system. A decision on Bolsonaro's case is expected to be reached in August or September. Moraes is at the center of tariffs Trump is now imposing on Brazilian goods. In his letter, Trump goes on to mention the Brazilian Supreme Court, alleging, quote,
hundreds of secret and unlawful censorship orders to the U.S. social media platforms are companies. That's what he always says, there are companies, until he hates them, threatening them with millions of dollars in fines and eviction from the Brazilian social media market, which is huge, which he says impose on the free speech rights of Americans. That's right.
It all is connected. This is not a new initiative by the American president. In fact, Trump has tried in multiple ways to interfere with Brazil's legal processes, and particularly with the Supreme Court and legal matters led by Justice Moraes. In February, Rumble, an online video platform popular among conservative and far-right users, which was founded by J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and Lula is great, I think, personally, so far. In February, joined Trump Media Group, the parent company of Truth Social, in filing a lawsuit against Moraes. Oh my gosh, Rumble filed a lawsuit accusing him of censorship and asking his orders to be deemed illegal in the U.S. In June, the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's announcement of a visa restriction policy targeting foreign nationals who censor Americans, say that 6 times fast, hinted at one specific justice, Moraes, who became the nemesis of U.S.-based big tech companies after multiple decisions against them. Well, maybe if they stop breaking the law. More recently, Brazil's Supreme Court voted to overturn the current platform liability regime, ruling that social media companies could be held accountable for third-party content deemed illegal, even without court orders. The decision is a step towards increased responsibility for social media companies, given the Brazilian Congress's failure to pass a law regulating platforms. In his statement, Lula said Brazilian society rejects content. Oh my God, content. I'm not speaking well today. Rejects content with hate speech, racism, child sexual exploitation, scams, fraud, and speech against human rights and democratic freedoms. He also said that in Brazil, freedom of speech is not to be confused with aggression or violent practices, and that all companies, whether national or international, are bound to Brazilian laws. That's right, because they're a sovereign country. In his letter, Trump directed the U.S. Trade Representative, is that Jamie, to open an investigation into Brazil's continued attacks on the digital trade activities of American companies, as well as other unfair trading practices. The decision was praised by the Computer and Communications Industry Association, which represents some of the largest U.S. technology firms. Well, maybe they should be thinking about how their content is impacting people and less about being protected by a Nazi. I don't know. Another important factor that may have played a part in Trump's tariff decision is a statement published by BRICS leaders after the 17th BRICS summit held in Rio de Janeiro in early June. Members of the BRICS alliance include Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, all founding members, and more recently, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Indonesia, and Iran. Wait, what? Wait, what? What? Wait, what? BRICS includes all of those now? What? In a statement around artificial intelligence governance, BRICS leaders called for an increased data protections under a regime that is protective of rights, including copyright, and which entails fair compensation for copyright holders of the environment and with market regulation amid fair competition. What? Iran is in BRICS? Yeah, exactly. Thank you for making the acronym correct now. I appreciate that. Trump seems to think his rights as an American are transferable to other jurisdictions. And he seems to think that he's protecting the same social media companies that he was shitting on. So, I'm confused. But what? Saudi Arabia is in BRICS? And we're okay with that? I thought we were mad. I thought BRICS was like against the dollar. I don't know. Are we in BRICS? Maybe we're in BRICS. It is Hawaiian for multi-front economic war. Ah, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Comes from the ancient Hawaiian. Wow. Appropriate protection of intellectual property rights, and in particular copyright against unauthorized AI use, must be in place to prevent exploitive data extraction and violation of privacy, allowing for fair remuneration mechanisms. Safeguards must ensure accountability and compliance with relevant legislation, including transparency over AI model inputs and outputs, the leaders wrote. Wow, when did they get so on this? Yeah, don't step on the Lego. Hi, Josh. How are you? The statement clashes directly. Exactly. This is where I'm confused. This statement clashes directly with the plans of Silicon Valley companies, particularly those leading AI development that often appear to be allied with Trump. I mean, basically, our Congress just passed a law saying that states can't sue companies. They can't regulate AI in their own state. Can we say that again? They just passed a law that says that states cannot. Did that end up being in the bill? I can't remember if that was taken out of the bill, where states can't go after AI companies for 10 years. Right? Didn't we read something like that? I don't know. I think. China, the biggest competitor to the U.S. in regards to technology and especially AI development, is also a BRICS member. Hello. This week, Trump threatened to slap an additional 10% tariffs on BRICS countries. Oh, well. During a press conference following that announcement, Lula replied to Trump's threat. We need to know the world has changed. We don't want emperors. Respect is very good. We'd like to give respect and receive. There is something called sovereignty. Each country owns its own nose. In other words, mind your business. The 50% tariffs threatened by Trump against Brazil are the highest against any country. The choice is hardly a coincidence. Few other countries have fought back against repeated attacks on their sovereignty and stood their ground like Brazil has to date. This is good. The previous one, oh yeah. This is Lace Martins, is a Brazilian investigative journalist based in Sao Paulo. All right, way to go. That's a good article. I did not know that about BRICS. Oh my, that's interesting. I mean, I guess I just wasn't really paying attention. I wasn't really paying attention. Yeah. Archive. Yeah. Archive. Yeah. This isn't really what I'm reading, but I just need to get to this place. Let's see if we got this. Maybe. What? No, that's not true. What? Why haven't you done that? Man, damn it. I hate everything and everybody. It's a brick shot house. It's a brick shit house. What's this? Oh, yeah, that's an Epstein thing. All right. Well, let's switch to. Where am I? Oh, actually, I wanted to watch this. This is just a minute, but just so that it was from yesterday. Thousands rally in Georgia, not Atlanta, Georgia. Actually, Carla sent me some lyrics, and I'm probably going to record that. It's really good. Thousands rally in Georgia to demand new parliamentary elections. So there's shit happening in Georgia too, just to kind of keep on keeping on. Tbilisi.
We truly believe that we are the part of the European society, and we gonna do all of our best. We're gonna be in the streets. We're gonna work with our foreign partners, and we truly believe that we're gonna win in this war against Ivanishvili's regime.
Good music. Those Georgians, they know how to march. Oh, great music. Go, Georgia. Go, Georgia. Go, 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 Georgia. Later, Hosen. Anyway, okay, so that, I'm sorry, that wasn't very...
You saw some of
this is a very good
similar
episode, by the
battles
way.
playing out.
If you haven't seen this episode of the Nerd Reich, I'm gonna clip this into there because you guys, this is such... I was watching this episode, obviously. It's from 3 months ago, but it is one of the best episodes on, first of all, David Sachs, because I think he's one of those people who slips under the radar, and he shouldn't. But this was a very good episode, but it wasn't what I was going to show you. Oh yeah, this. Okay, so let's talk about Gaza. Let's switch up to Gaza a little bit. Switch gears. Because I continue to hear that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is anything but. And we talked at length about them, but we're not going to stop talking about them until something happens. And I hope it's soon because people aren't surviving. I think yesterday it was 73 people who were shot trying to get food. So yeah, we're gonna stop talking about that. Let's go. Let me go over here because then I can make it really big. What? All right. So this is a little piece from Times Radio from the UK. Hi, Dean. How are you? Good morning, Dean Wall. Nice to see you. Oh, hell yeah. Let's see. I have not found a clear answer as to whether and how that provision may have survived. Wait, which provision? Transparent. Oh, the APA. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if that, I had heard somewhere that might have been taken out of the big ugly bill. The part about states not being able to regulate AI, but I don't know that it was actually taken out. So yeah, that's all right. Here we go. And why is he so big? Why are you so big? Why are you so big? La la la. Oh, God bless America. The toggle is sometimes very problematic, which I know you shouldn't have to care about that, but you're wondering why I'm so pathetic on this. Okay. Here we go.
I don't remember seeing such a catastrophic scheme put into place ever, at least in the conflict, the parts of the conflict that I have covered here for decades.
Now, at least 32 Palestinians seeking food have been killed by Israeli gunfire near two aid distribution points close to Khan Yunis and Rafah in southern Gaza. That's according to the territory's
that's right. He got
Hamas
food poisoning.
Health
I heard
Ministry.
that.
It says that dozens were also injured near the two sites run by the controversial US and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The foundation said that there were no incidences at or near their sites. Now, the UN said earlier this week that nearly 900 people had been killed while trying to access aid in the 6 weeks since this foundation took over the responsibility of distributing aid from the UN. Let's now speak with Noga Tarnopolsky, who is a journalist in Jerusalem. Noga, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Aisha.
Just outline for us what's happened here.
Well, what's happened today is what's been happening basically daily, almost since this scheme was founded. It appears to be an Israeli planned and conceived and created front a notion that appealed to Prime Minister Netanyahu's cabinet for how aid could be distributed. And it's staffed in large part by American former military personnel. So this entire notion of creating food hubs where people would crowd around one single spot to get food, instead of the usual model, which is to distribute aid where people live. Speaking on general terms, this was panned ahead of time. All of the experts, all of the professionals in the field did warn Israel that this could never work, that it was a disaster waiting to happen. And that's what it's turned out to be. It's basically become, you know, a shooting gallery where people gather, thousands of them, on the verge of famine. They have very little options for how else to get food. There is looted food in Gaza that is sold at tremendous prices in the markets, or there's the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and there's very little else, but it's not working. And I just do want to add that about 3 weeks ago, the Israeli army acknowledged that this was not working, and said they would change the routes available for people coming into these so-called humanitarian hubs. To my knowledge, though, after the announcement was made, the Israeli army hasn't changed a single thing in the functioning or in the security around these hubs.
And look, just remind us of what, because it does feel like people who are queuing for aid are getting killed very frequently. What do the Israelis say is happening here?
Well, astonishingly enough, Aisha, the Israelis basically are saying nothing. Every single day you have an incident of this type, and every single day the Israeli army, that has become more and more opaque, says we're reviewing the incident.
Last week they said there was a technical issue. There was something that happened. They said it was a technical issue.
Well, if so, that technical issue has not subsequently been clarified. But the normal line that we receive every single day from the Israeli army is we're reviewing the issue, but I have never seen a subsequent report on any of these incidents. And at this point, they would really be piling up, where I think we're significantly beyond 40 such incidents. So we're awaiting numerous military reports about what goes wrong every single day. The Israeli cabinet wanted to make a point by rejecting the UN distribution method. And it has to be said that the UN, that has basically been in charge of humanitarian aid in Gaza for decades, was also an imperfect system.
Was this UNRWA?
It was principally
100%.
UNRWA. It was also the UN food program. And it was imperfect in the respect that, as Israel does say, Israel's now calling these agencies terrorist groups, which is, just a political nonsense. But the United Nations as a whole did make very significant accommodations to Hamas and accepted that Hamas, which is a terror group that took over the Gaza Strip in a very violent coup d'etat in 2007, they accepted working with them as the legitimate governing agency there, the legitimate governance. And so Israel criticizes the UN severely for that, and it is criticizable. On the other hand, the UN was able to get food to people without them getting killed. And so in weighing the options now, which are to bring back some kind of UN system, which appears to be, by the way, what Hamas is demanding in the negotiations. We don't have the details of negotiations over a possible ceasefire in Gaza, but we do know that one of the sticking points, one major Hamas demand, has been to get rid of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and reinstate some other system of the distribution of aid to the population.
And it's. Do you think there's any way that Israel will change its mind? Do you think this humanitarian foundation will change? Is this the end for it, or do you think they'll carry on with it, even though it's something which is clearly not working terribly well and lots of people are getting killed?
Well, I assume you're asking me, in the event of a ceasefire, would this humanitarian effort continue? I doubt it. I mean, if you're asking me genuinely, I don't remember seeing such a catastrophic scheme put into place ever, at least in the conflict, the parts of the conflict that I have covered here for decades. I don't remember ever seeing such an ill-conceived, catastrophic outfit put into place. And, you know, the Israeli government decided on this model for purely political reasons. Netanyahu, his government demonized the United Nations. Many say the United Nations deserved it. They have a point. But by demonizing the UN and getting rid of the UN and refusing, as the Israeli government has, to allow any other Palestinian or pan-Arab governing structure to take over from Hamas, Israel has left itself as the only occupying power right now in Gaza. And this scheme was invented, either it was misconceived by people in the Israeli government and the Israeli army who have no idea how humanitarian aid needs to be distributed, or as some more and more in Israel are suggesting, this is part of a much broader plan to make life in Gaza so unlivable that Gazans will, and I'm quoting now from Netanyahu and his ministers, that Gazans will want to voluntarily migrate. This is being called a plan for ethnic cleansing, you know, by many in the international community. I can't gauge that, but I think it certainly falls under the category of a war crime if this is the case, keeping an entire population on the verge of famine so as to not give them any other options than to desire to leave, trying to force them into narrower and narrower areas while explicitly saying, as the Israeli defense minister has, that the hope is that from these concentrated areas, they will then be able to leave. And then dispatching the head of the Mossad, the spy agency, last week to Washington. We just found out through a harrowing revelation in Axios that the reason for David Barnea's trip to Washington was to try and gain American support to persuade third nations like Libya and Indonesia to accept Gazan escapees, refugees, migrants, whatever you want to call them. And so there is an image that is coming together of the Israeli government possibly not having made a big misstep with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation as initially it appeared, but maybe trying to enact a plan,
right,
which Netanyahu needs to keep his most extremist ministers on side.
That's very, very interesting. Well, Naga, I just want to also ask one other question to you. The Syrian presidency has just announced an immediate ceasefire in the southern city of Suwaida. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, Suwaida is a province in southwest Syria, and it's renowned for its Druze population. It's sort of a Druze area. This is, I think, the fourth announcement of a ceasefire in this area. The three previous versions failed completely. This one seems to have somewhat better chances. Again, it was announced unilaterally by the Syrian government. One of the Druze groups involved in the fighting against ISIS-linked Islamist militias in that area, the sheikh who's in charge of the most, I would say, extreme Druze faction, Hikmat al-Hijabi, he has said he does not feel beholden to this agreement. But everyone else, for now, just a few hours, seems to be holding tight. So this may have better chances, but I think we're not out of the woods yet.
Okay, well, look, Noga, as ever, really, really good to catch up with you. Thank you very much for your time. That's
Thank you. Yes, that is Noga Tarnopolsky. She's an amazing journalist who's based in Israel. I really appreciate her reporting, so I was really appreciative of that piece. That's the other thing. I'm going to read the Axios piece about Netanyahu. And what I'm reading now in Reuters, Bedouin civilians leave Syria's Suwaida as tense truce holds. So that was from 29 minutes ago, reported by Reuters. So it looks as if that last ceasefire is still somewhat, at least, in place. But, I don't know. But I want to read, given that, I found the Axios piece that she refers to, which I think is very interesting. And this is from July 20th. This is from yesterday. He's a madman. Trump's team frets about Netanyahu after Syria strikes. Right. Yeah, I do love Noga. Yeah. On so the other piece to this Israel thing, to Netanyahu, is the incursion into Syria and the fact that they're unilaterally bombing a sovereign country that apparently we're trying to be friendly with. So I'm a little confused, although I'm not that confused, because it seems to me that Netanyahu and his henchmen are trying to increase their land grab. They already took over the rest of the Golan Heights. We've had American Palestinians killed and beaten to death by Israeli settlers. So frankly, the government allowing the settlers to brutalize their neighbors and take over land is unacceptable. His land grab of other countries and the starving of the Palestinians. I don't know how much more it goes for a person who needs to be held accountable. I just don't understand it. And we've completely turned over the reins to the most evil men in the world, Putin, Netanyahu, etc. A dump. Yeah. Ooh. Yikes. All right. He's a madman. There we go. As the smoke and debris swirled over the Syrian presidential palace, the chatter in the West Wing grew louder. Benjamin Netanyahu is out of control. I don't believe that they believe that. I think Max Flower mentioned Josh Johnson, and I've been following since. Anyway, good news. He's guest hosting The Daily Show this week. Oh my gosh, starting tomorrow. I posted on my YouTube page. Excellent, Val. Thank you. Take a look at that. Bibi acted like a madman. Ow. Gotta readjust my chair here. All right, here we go. Ugh. All right, Bibi acted like a madman. Madman. Oh my God. I can't speak. Are you kidding me? It's one of those mornings. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Oh my God, what am I stuck here? Stuck? What? Why can't I move you? Do. And a bobo here and a blur here and a blur. Wow, this is really weird. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Hold on just a minute. There we go. What they're saying. Bibi acted like a madman. He bombs everything all the time, one White House official told Axios, referring to Netanyahu by his nickname. This could undermine what Trump is trying to do. What? Or does it? A second senior U.S. official also pointed to the shelling of a church in Gaza this week, which led President Trump to call Netanyahu and demand an explanation. Oh, that's right, because they bombed some Christians. And what's his name? Huckabee. Is it Huckabee? Wait, which one is the one in Israel? Is it Mike Huckabee? I think he did like the whole tour of the remains of the church and all this stuff. The feeling is that every day there is something new. What the fuck? A third U.S. official said there's growing skepticism inside the Trump administration about Netanyahu, a sense that his trigger finger is too itchy and he's too disruptive. Netanyahu is sometimes like a child who just won't behave. I had a feeling they didn't know that the Syrian thing was happening. Netanyahu's spokesperson, Ziv Agman, did not respond to a request. 6 U.S. officials tell Axios that despite a U.S. brokered ceasefire that halted this week's escalation in Syria on Friday, this week ended with the White House significantly more alarmed about Netanyahu and his regional policies. Are they grasping their pearls yet? However, Trump has so far refrained from public criticism, and it's unclear if he shares his advisors' frustrations. It is not totally clear whether he shares his advisors' recent concerns about Israel's actions in Syria. He probably doesn't even know where Syria is. On Tuesday, Israel bombed a convoy of Syrian army tanks en route to the city of Saweda to respond to violent clashes between a Druze militia and armed Bedouin tribesmen, which had killed over 700 people as of Saturday, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Wait. Oh, hi, Lawcat. We're dump. I know. I can't. I try not to say his name in any meaningful way, if I can. All right. Oh, speaking of terrible people here, Tom Barrack is coming up. Oh, wait. Whoa. That did it by itself. Israel claimed the convoy crossed into a zone of southern Syria it demands be demilitarized, and that the Syrian military was participating in attacks on the Druze minority, which Syria denies. So yet again, they just manufacture the evidence. Okay, you guys are changing this page on your own, idiots. U.S. envoy Tom Barrack asked his Israeli counterparts. Tom Barrack, you know, the one that went to prison. Oh, let's remind everybody what Tom Barrack's. Tom Barrack claimed fame. Wait, now he's the ambassador to Turkey, but this is good. 4 hours ago, U.S. cannot compel Israel to do anything, says envoy Tom Barrack in Beirut. Cannot force, but only influence Israeli actions. We don't have anything to do with anything. Anyway, Tom Barrack went to prison because he got in trouble for like financial mismanagement or something. He ran the first inauguration or something and like took a bunch of money. Oh, Gal Suburban coming in hot with the information. Thank you, Gal. My God, I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I hate this website so much. Okay. It's important to remember. Here we go. There's always a tweet. Let me tell you about Tom Barrack, the guy who's getting in the middle of this. It's important to remember that while the Trump inauguration was underway, Mike Flynn was pushing through a deal that would transfer nuclear technology to the Saudis with indicted foreign agent Tom Barrack. Oh, that's right. He was indicted for FARA violations. It is important. Good to go, Mike Flynn, inauguration day, 2017. Anyway, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but I'll include this too. Yes, that's right. That's right. This is not that long ago. Tom Barrack was basically on trial for foreign lobbying charges. So he actually got in trouble. Now he's out of trouble, and he's the fucking ambassador to Turkey. Crazy. I love you. Oh, thanks, Gal. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so, they're surrounded by criminals. That's really what it comes down to. Wait, where was I now? Oh, man, now I kind of lost my place here. Oops. Where'd I go? 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 Axios? Oh, here we go. So that's who Tom Barrack is. So as you listen, think in your head, the puppy may have found a home. Oh no, I missed her. She's doing a test run on her potential new home. Oh, baby peanut butter. Yeah, it's funny to hear them surprised they're being lied to. U.S. envoy Tom Barrack, and former criminal, asked his Israeli counterparts on Tuesday to stand down to allow for a diplomatic resolution. Yeah, just, and the Israelis committed to do so, according to a U.S. official. Instead, after a pause, Israel escalated the strikes. Oh, you meant don't bomb them? I thought you said bomb them. On Wednesday, Israel dropped bombs on Syria's military headquarters and near the presidential palace. Well, that doesn't sound like they're trying to stop a convoy down in Soweto. The bombing in Syria caught the president and the White House by surprise. The president doesn't like turning on the television and seeing bombs dropped in a country he is seeking peace in, and made a monumental announcement to help rebuild. Yeah, help rebuild, which means we're going to take everything. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told Netanyahu and his team to stop on Wednesday. You stop. Netanyahu agreed to do so in return for the Syrian military withdrawing from Ceuta. But by then, the countries, including Turkey and Saudi Arabia, had conveyed angry messages to the Trump administration about Israel's actions, and several senior U.S. officials had complained directly to Trump about Netanyahu. It was just a friendly misunderstanding. We keep bombing them, but it's still a misunderstanding. Behind the scenes, among those officials were Barrack and White House envoy Steve Witkoff. Oh, both close friends of Trump's, according to a U.S. official. The general belief in the White House was that Netanyahu bombed Syria because of domestic pressure from Israel's Druze minority. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He did it because they want to secure that land. Okay, this is a land grab. Period. Full stop. Full fucking stop. God. Bibi's political agenda is driving his senses. It will turn out to be a big mistake for him long term. Oh, really? So far, no, it hasn't. Okay, so fuck off, U.S. officials. Another U.S. official said the damage the Israelis had done to their standing at the White House over the past week didn't seem to be breaking through to them. The Israelis need to get their head out of their asses, the official quipped. Oh, I think everything's just fine. Calm down. The tensions over Syria came just days after Netanyahu's visit to D.C., in which he met Trump twice, and the two leaders seemed closer than ever in the afterglow of the war with Iran. Oh, you mean the bombing of Iran. Okay, it's not a war. It was a bombing. Thank you, Axios, you idiots. I fucking hate these. Yeah, grab them by the land, Joss. That's right. Fuck the pussy. We're going to grab the land. In addition to Syria and the attack on the church in Gaza, the murder of Palestinian American Saif Moussalet by a mob of Israeli settlers, that's what I was referring to earlier, last weekend also sparked pushback from the Trump administration toward Netanyahu's stridently pro-settler government. Mike Huckabee, who days earlier had visited Netanyahu's corruption trial in a show of support, oh my God, released a series of statements calling the attack terrorism and demanding answers. On Saturday, he also visited a Christian community in the West Bank that had been targeted by settler attacks. So, you know, Huckabee, a long and effusive supporter of Israel, also criticized the Israeli government this week for making it harder for American evangelicals to obtain travel visas. What? Unintended consequences, my ass. The Israelis were surprised by the U.S. pushback over the Syria strikes because we thought we could do whatever we wanted. A senior Israeli official told said Trump had encouraged Netanyahu to hold parts of Syria. I knew it. During his first weeks in office and hadn't previously expressed concerns about Israel's interventions in the country. Why is this an issue now? The official stressed that Israel only intervened after its intelligence indicated the Syrian government was involved in the attacks against the Druze. Then prove it. Prove it. When are journalists going to ask politicians to prove it? That's transparency. What this administration claims is transparency is not transparency. Transparency is when you show the documents. So if there was a credible threat or a credible indication that the Syrian government was involved, first of all, that's ridiculous. It should have been done diplomatically because everybody's trying to get a piece of Syria. So it seems to me that everybody has just made a bunch of overtures to the new leadership in Syria, trying to say, oh, it's okay, in the interest, of course, of dividing up that country. That's really what's going to happen. Because remember that Syria provides a really advantageous landmass for the transfer of natural gas and oil or whatever goes in those pipelines, okay? So that is a thing. Okay? Oh yeah, here we go. What did you say, Max? You've got this. Remember when Schlump abandoned our base in Syria to the Russians and released 5,000 Taliban prisoners? Yep, remember that? Oh boy. The official stressed that Israel only intervened. Oh yeah, we saw that. The U.S. wants to keep the new Syrian government stable. Oh my God, and doesn't understand why we attack in Syria. because of attacks on the Druze community there. We tried to explain to them that this is our commitment to the Druze community in Israel, the senior Israeli official said. The instability in Syria is a major concern to the administration. I mean, for what reason? On Saturday, Rubio posted on X that the regime in Damascus needs to help bring peace and stop the killings. But aren't they the ones being bombed? I'm confused. But a senior U.S. official said Israel shouldn't be able to decide whether the Syrian government can exert its sovereignty over its own citizens and territory. The current Israeli policy would lead to an unstable Syria. Both the Druze community and Israel will lose in such a scenario. This was hardly the first time Netanyahu has tested Trump's patience. Yeah, okay, sure, Axios, whatever. His gamble that Trump would ultimately back his strikes on Iran paid off in dramatic fashion. He's pressed on in Gaza for months despite Trump's desire for an end to the war. Oh, except for we'll fund people who are actually killing the Palestinians. Yep. In Syria, he bet once again that he could escalate dramatically without destabilizing the region or his relationship would dump. And Trump aides have become more and more aware in recent months of the influence of far-right Jewish supremacist elements in Netanyahu's coalition have on policy. You don't say. This dynamic has also become more evident to the broader MAGA movement. You don't say. Netanyahu is a far-right Jewish supremacist. Okay? That's a feature, not a bug. U.S. officials who spoke to Axios cautioned that Netanyahu's luck and Trump's goodwill could run out. Yeah, sure it will, until he threatens him with some other intelligence that he has. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. Okay, and this story I found this story. 4-year-old girl dies of hunger in Gaza as Israel throttles the food supply. From CNN from yesterday. And there she is. The baby. 4-year-old Razan Abu Zair gave up her fight for life on Sunday. She died at a hospital in central Gaza from complications brought on by hunger and malnutrition, according to a medical source. Her skeletal body was laid out on a slab of stone. At least 76 children in Gaza have died of malnutrition since the conflict began in October 2023, as well as 10 adults, the Palestinian Health Ministry says. Can you imagine what it's like to starve to death? Can you just imagine what it's like to actually starve to death in this day and age, too? Can you imagine? According to the World Health Organization, most of these occurred since Israeli authorities imposed a blockade for aid at the beginning of March. Yeah, remember, the Israeli authorities imposed a blockade under the lie that UNRWA was, the worst organization in the world, which is the UN. I don't know what the RWA stands for. Now I can't remember, but yeah. Razan was one of at least 4 children to succumb in the last 3 days, the youngest just 3 months. Over the past 24 hours, 18 deaths have been recorded due to famine in Gaza, the health ministry says, reflecting a deepening crisis in the territory. Oh, I think it's deep enough. CNN first met Razan a month ago. She was already weak with hunger and pitifully thin. Her mother, Taru Abu Daher, said then that she had no money to buy milk, which was in any case rarely available. Her health was very good before the war, but after the war her condition began to deteriorate due to malnutrition. There is nothing to strengthen her. Here she is. On June 23rd. Razan had already been in the hospital for 12 days. She clung on to life for another 27. Razan died amid growing starvation in Gaza, with the flow of humanitarian aid severely reduced since the beginning of March when Israeli authorities banned convoys from entering Gaza. That ban was partially lifted at the end of May, but aid agencies say the amounts reaching the territory far too little are far too little to sustain the population. Israel said it was halting shipments of aid into Gaza because Hamas was stealing and profiting from it, an allegation Hamas denies. Israeli agencies also say that the United Nations has not picked up aid ready to move into Gaza. The UN, in turn, has said that Israeli forces frequently deny permission to move aid within Gaza and that much more is waiting to be allowed in. Why is Israel in charge of what goes into Gaza? Why? Why? They don't own that country. They don't own Palestine. I understand they're occupying whatever. I can't believe we're letting this happen. And we're going to turn around and go, oh my God, how did we let that entire country be killed? And we're going to have done nothing about it. The Israeli agency that manages the flow of aid into the Gaza Strip, the coordinator of government activities in the territories, said in a statement that the IDF is working to allow and facilitate the transfer of humanitarian aid, including food. Well, then why don't they? Since the beginning of the hostilities and up to this day, approximately 67,000 food trucks have entered the Gaza Strip, delivering about 1.5 million tons of food, Kogat said. Israel will continue to facilitate the entry of food into Gaza, Kogat said, while taking all possible measures to prevent the terrorist organization Hamas from seizing the aid. Well, where's the proof that Hamas is doing any of this? Where is it? I want to know. I want to know. And our State Department will only continue to support the Netanyahu government saying, oh, they're investigating. Oh, they're investigating. That bitch gets up there every week, 2 times a week, and says that. But I just want to tell you that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has provided 76 million meals since the end of May. You want to know what 76 million meals is? There's 2 million people at least in Gaza. That would equate to 4 meals in almost in 2 months. In 2 months, that would equate 4 meals per person. And they're in 4 places in the country versus going to where people live. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is supporting the genocide of the Palestinian people. And in fact, it's facilitating it. Period. I think it's time to maybe start protesting this piece again. Let's get back on this again. Gaza was heavily dependent on aid and commercial shipments of food before the conflict began in October 2023 because of Israeli occupation, by the way. So even without an active bombing campaign in place, as it has been since October 2023, it was always that way. The scarcity of food since March has sent a rapidly growing number of people to already overwhelmed hospitals. Gaza is witnessing the worst phase of famine, which has reached catastrophic levels amid unprecedented international silence, said Dr. Khalil Al-Dakran, the spokesman for Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital on Sunday, where Razan died. Al-Dakran said the infants who are now dying had been robbed of their childhood twice, once by bombing and killing, and again by depriving them of milk and a piece of bread. The health ministry said Saturday that an unprecedented number of starving citizens of all ages are arriving at emergency departments in severe states of exhaustion and fatigue. Hundreds whose bodies have been severely weakened are now at risk of imminent death due to hunger and their bodies' inability to endure any longer, the ministry added. The Palestinian Center for Human Rights, an NGO working in Gaza, reported Sunday that one of its team in Gaza had said, "Our faces have changed and our bodies have wasted away. We no longer recognize each other from extreme emaciation, as if we are slowly fading away and dying." That's one of its team for the Palestinian Center for Human Rights. Dr. Suhaib Al-Hams, director of Kuwait Field Hospital in Khan Yunis, told CNN that people arriving there were in dire need of food before medicine, as their bodies have reached a point beyond endurance and are all at risk of death. Today, the World Central Kitchen stopped sending meals for the medical staff. They used to send us only rice. Doctors are working 24 hours a day with no food, neither at home or at the hospital. People are dying of hunger, Alham said Sunday. World Central Kitchen confirmed its Gaza teams had run out of ingredients to cook warm meals. We served 80,000 meals yesterday on Saturday, emptying the last of our replenished stocks while aid trucks remained stuck at the border. This is the second time lack of access to aid has forced our kitchen operations to pause, it added. In their desperation, thousands of people risk their lives every day to find something to eat. More than 70 people were reported to have been killed, 73 to be specific, in Sunday in northern Gaza as they desperately sought food aid, according to the health ministry, which said they had been shot by Israeli troops. The Israel Defense Forces said troops in the area fired warning shots in order to remove an immediate threat posed to them. The IDF is aware of the claim regarding casualties in the area, and the details of the incident are still being examined. An initial review suggests that the number of casualties reported does not align with the information held by the IDF. Dr. Mohammed Abu Salmiya, director of Al-Shifa Hospital, where many of the casualties were taken, said that a significant number of civilians and even medical staff are arriving in a state of fainting or collapse due to severe malnutrition. Nearly 800 Palestinians were killed while trying to access aid in Gaza between late May and July 7th, according to the Office of UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. During that period, OHCHR recorded the killings of 798 people, 615 of whom were killed near sites of the controversial U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which needs to be closed down, and we need to give aid relief back to the agencies that were doing it. It added that 183 others were killed on the routes of aid convoys, without giving details on who had been running those convoys. Oh boy. Palestinian rescuers arrived to evacuate injured people after an Israeli drone reportedly opened fire on civilian gatherings near an aid distribution point on June 1st. Dozens more have been killed since, according to the health ministry, including more than 30 in southern Gaza on Saturday. Tom Fletcher, the UN Emergency Relief Coordinator, told the UN Security Council on Thursday that food was running out in Gaza. Those seeking it risk being shot. People are dying trying to feed their families. He said that starvation rates among children had reached their highest levels in June, with more than 5,800 girls and boys diagnosed as acutely malnourished. The UN Office for the Coordination of Human Affairs said Friday it was receiving deeply troubling reports of malnourished children and adults being admitted to hospitals with little resources available to treat them properly. On Saturday, Sarmad Tamimi, a plastic surgeon volunteering with medical aid for Palestinians, told CNN, "Honestly, I feel the lucky ones get killed immediately because of the horrible horrors they're going to face with their extensive injuries, with inadequate nutrition, inadequate medical supplies, infections, maggots, and hospital-acquired infections." So yeah, that's that. That's that. I've got stable coin. Yeah, maybe I'll wait on that one. I think I'm going to end it there, actually. Let's go back. I'm going to catch up with my friends in chat. Let's go back to the beautiful fireplace, and maybe I'll read the chat. Yeah. Yes. Children are starving to death while the doctors and nurses trying to save them are also starving to death. While we incinerate food. And we just sit there and say, oh, well, I mean, it expired. But it expired last week. So we knew about the food sitting there in warehouses. But we didn't choose to do anything about it until it expired so that they could burn it. Yeah, shame on us. It really is shame on us. Josh, guess I missed the part of the show that wasn't depressing. I'm sorry, Josh. The whole thing was depressing, unfortunately. At least CNN called it a war, yeah. Mike Huckabee. Oh my God, that's so great. Mike Huckabee. Who did that? That's so good. Trump was charmed by the Syrian president's looks. That's all you need to know. Yeah, Teresa, I think you're right. I think I heard that somewhere. Yeah, Penny's being adopted. I believe Turkey is a customer for that pipeline. But yes, exactly. Lee, thank you. I believe Turkey is a customer for that pipeline. Barrack is well placed. Yes. It's the Syria. That's right. It's the land. Oh my God. There's so many shitty people in the government. It's all so cruel. Meowing Star. Good to see you. It's all so very cruel. I don't know what to do about it. I really don't. I don't know what to do about it. You dropped a bomb on me. Oh, you dropped a bomb on me, baby. You dropped a bomb. God, Carla, you're on fire today. Those are really good. Good job. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I started your Monday out so horribly. I'm so sorry. It's just all bad. There's not a lot of good news. I tried to give you the NIH guy who was a Trump appointee who got fired. I tried to give you one little bright spot. Jared, yeah, no, this is all about making Gaza the Mediterranean of the whatever. What is it? The Mediterranean of something? Still recovering from last weekend. All right, good. Good to know. Life is life. I know. It is unfortunate. But I did give you the NIH guy getting fired, okay? So there's something. Temp here is under 80, so going to try and get some outside stuff done. Awesome. Oh, I hope everybody's doing okay with the heat. I think it's hot here today, but I don't know. I haven't looked. I haven't gone outside yet. We proved our tolerance for violence and human rights abuses over and over. We have, Carla. There's no, we're not at all innocent in this as a country. Absolutely not. But you always hope that somehow we're going to do the right thing. And I wish, I actually, and I said this at the time too, even though there were people like trying to infiltrate, as they always do, movements to, speak against Harris and Biden administration and equate them with the Trump administration and their handling of Netanyahu, et cetera. I understood and understand to this day all of that frustration. At the time, we were always concerned about, is this, who is engaged in this movement to also exacerbate it and make it something that the American public turns away from, right? So I think that just like the timing is so unfortunate, and the fact that now it's like their full attack on the rights to free speech and speaking up against this are absolutely about to, I don't know. It's just too much. It's too much. Are you guys going to go fishing? Oh, deer eat all the good stuff and all the junk stuff grows out of control. Well, then you have to flip the script, Max. You have to make the gross stuff like the good stuff. Then the deer are going to want it. Hello. Fixed it for you. All right. Well, I hope you have a really good day. I hope you have a great Monday. Again, eat the deer. eat the deer. I will see. I am going to have a space tonight on the Bad Place. So if you want to join, please do. If you don't, I totally understand. But we will have a space over. We'll have a space over on the Bad Place tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. 6 p.m. Pacific. And then tomorrow morning, same time, 6:30 a.m. Pacific here at Wake and Bake. Tomorrow night is really, but really don't. Tomorrow night is you have a bee suit. I want to see that. Tomorrow night is Documentary Tuesday, and we had two potential documentaries. One is I don't know if it's still available to watch, but there's one by Zarina Zabriskie, right? Is that the right name? Amazing journalist over in Ukraine. And she has a new documentary out about Kherson. So there's that. And then there was one more documentary that we just heard about. Fuck. Oh man, what the fuck was that documentary we just talked about? I can't remember. I'll have to look. Anyway, so there'll be a documentary tomorrow night on Discord, 6 p.m. again. Nice and easy. Easy breezy. Wasting disease in deer. Oh, they have a wasting disease? Oh, I don't know. I don't care for, I don't like game. I'm not a big game meat eater at all. I'm not a big meat eater, but I don't like game. Ta-ta for now, Carla. Gotta wash off the toner out of my hair. Trying to get rid of the orange. Oh, you don't have to accept use free hair color. It's true. You do not have to accept free hair color. It's true. You know it as Scrappy, and sheep, a mad cow and cows. Okay, that one I'm familiar with. Check the deer nuts for the deer ticks. Oh my God, ticks too. God, fuck summer. Fuck summer. When's fall? When's fall? I'm ready for fall. Ugh. All right. Thanks again, everyone. I hope the rest of your day goes a little bit better than what you had to listen to this morning. Oh, ticks are worse in fall? Oh, damn. Okay, sorry. But we don't want to go outside as much in fall, so maybe that, I don't know. Whatever. I don't worry about ticks. I don't have ticks here in Los Angeles. Or maybe I do. I just don't know it. I probably do. There's probably ticks everywhere, right? Right. No, summer is just getting good. All right, Lee. Okay, Lee. Okay, you're right. Okay, I'm not rushing it. I'm not going to rush it. Not going to rush it. For the record, there's not enough splat to cover your whole head. What's splat? What's splat? Oh, okay. I love you guys. I will see you later. Thank you so much for spending so much time with me this morning. I'm Lolo, and I will definitely see you later. Okay. Good night. I love you. Oh, no, don't sink into sadness, Lee. I'm going to come and we'll play. Okay, bye.